And it's loading right now. And it's about to go live. And okay, all right, we are live. All right, ladies, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
All right, let's do this. What's up, everybody? We are live. Welcome to another session of the Double Clock Podcast. My name is Will. I am the host of this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching right now, if you're tuning in for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show for you guys. So as you guys can see, we have some beautiful and intellectual ladies from all around the world. We have a full panel of guests tonight, so we're going to have some great topics of discussion tonight. Welcome, ladies. I just want to say to all the ladies, thank you so much for joining tonight. Much love to all you guys. And to all my subscribers out there, thank you so much for all the love and support you always show my channel. Much love to you guys. Like I said, if you love the content, appreciate what I do, and support my channel, press that like. Don't forget, I do have a disclaimer for everybody out there under the age of 18.
This content is not suitable for the children under the age of 18 without adult supervision. Please be advised.
All right, so everybody out there under the age of 18, just want to let everybody know, you may need a supervision because this is for mature adult audiences only. We're going to be talking about modern day dating, sex, and relationships. So if you're under the age of 18, I need you to go to sleep right now. Okay. All right. And
Go
then
to bed.
go to bed. All right. Don't forget, we do have the live chat. So I always appreciate every single person that jumps on and tunes in to every single show. So you guys already know what to do in the live chat. Let me know your comments. Let me know your perspectives, and let me know your opinions. We're gonna have a variety of topics we're gonna be discussing tonight with all these beautiful ladies. But I always appreciate your feedback and to see what you guys think about the things we're gonna talk about tonight. Don't forget, this is a public show. So I know we talk about a variety of different topics, perspectives, especially when it comes to relationships. I know men and women, we see things differently. But I always promote open dialogue. I know there's a lot of people out there that oftentimes get triggered or disagree.
How dare you?
With my content. So if you disagree, if you get triggered, I always promote open conversation and dialogue. So if you disagree, if you don't agree with one of the things I say, or maybe one of these ladies or things that we're gonna talk about what they say, then jump on and have a conversation. Let's have a discussion. Let us know why we agree or disagree. So, but just like I said, if you jump on, I'm gonna add the Zoom link on the public live chat, so you guys can click on it and can jump on. But just be respectful, respect the guest, the platform, and the guests, and you guys can jump on and have a conversation with us. Don't forget, we do have the super chat donations. Everybody out there to always support my channel financially. So if you want to drop a super chat donation, much love to you guys. And I do want to reciprocate that donation for you. So if you do want to drop a super chat donation, ask it through a question, ask it through a topic, and we'll be able to answer it live on the show to reciprocate your donation, your financial donation to my channel. So if you want to get the best out of the most out of your money, so if you have a specific question you want to ask the guests, or you want to have a specific topic you want us to discuss live on the show, ask it through a super chat donation, and I'll be able to reciprocate that to you and shout you out for donating to my channel. Thank you so much. But that's pretty much it. We got all my YouTube stuff done already. I'm ready to dive into the show. We have a great panel tonight. All these ladies, I'm interested to hear their perspective, what kind of questions that they want to bring up tonight. So ladies, I ask you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick. What's your name? What's your age? What do you do? And what's your relationship status? So I'll start with the quietest one. Lizzy, go ahead. Go ahead and
All right.
introduce yourself.
I'm Lizzy. I am in Texas right now, and I am a college student. And I currently do have a boyfriend. He is very awesome.
No worries. Great. And then how old are you, Lizzy?
I'm 21.
21. All right. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Lizzy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. Diana, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
I'm 18. I live in Kentucky. My name's Diana, and I don't do nothing for her. I just work full time. That's it. And I'm single.
All right. Nice. Okay. All right, Diana. Thank you for jumping on. I really appreciate it. Even though you wrote MIA for, I was joking. But thank you for jumping on. Thank you for jumping on. All right. And Kate, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Kate, and I'm a hypnotherapist and a trauma worker. And I'm 32. I'm in partnership, and I'm in LA.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I'm excited to hear a lot of that hypnosis stuff. I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for jumping on. And last but not least, Kristina, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
So I'm Kristina. I'm a dating and relationship coach in New York City. I'm 31 years old and I'm in a relationship.
All right. Kristina, thank you so much. Ladies, thank you so much for all you guys jumping on tonight. And if everybody that's watching this right now, thank you so much for watching. And like I said, if you love the content, love the channel, press that like and subscribe button real quick. But ladies, we'll go right into it. So my very first question is actually something I saw trending on social media on Facebook. So I wanna ask you guys real quick. So you know what? Let me pull it up real quick so you guys can read it, and then we'll read it all together. But I'm very interested to hear your thoughts about this topic. So let me just share my screen real quick, and then see if you guys can all see it. You know what? Let me. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I saw this trending on social media on Facebook. So I just want to hear you guys. So it's this lady posted this post, right? It says, and if you're watching this right now, hopefully you guys can see it. Drop a comment, let me know if you can see it. But I'm gonna read it out loud for everybody to see. So she said that my opinion on going half on bills. So half ain't the problem. Half and a housewife is the problem. If I work 40 hours a week just like you, but you expect dinner on the table, the house to be clean, laundry done, and the kids to be settled, that's what the problem is. If you're gonna be equally yoked, it's gonna be that way across the board. But don't bring me 600 for your half of rent when you ain't half did shit all week but work, because I did that as well. And if cooking, cleaning, and maintaining functionality was so easy, why you ain't help do it? All right. All right. So yeah, so that's the question, because we live in an age now, where both men and women can work. But if you talk to most men, they one of the things they look for in a woman is a woman that can be able to cook and clean for him. So even if the woman works, a man still expects the woman. Most men, I'm not saying all men, but most men would still appreciate, even including myself, they will still expect a woman to cook and clean. But I know there's a lot of women out there that disagree. That if we both work, then I don't have to cook and clean. Then he expects the man to do so. And I know a lot of times that can cause a lot of issues and arguments within the relationship. So my question for you, so I'm just interested to hear your guys' opinion and perspective on that post, because I do believe that for a lot of women is, even though the roles have changed, but what men are look for, especially what men are still looking for from a woman and from a wife, is still the same. I know for a lot of women, it's going to be hard for them to deal with that. But I'm just interested to hear your opinion and perspective. So what's your thoughts about on that post? So I'll start with you. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Lizzy. Well, since you just went out there, I'll start with you then. Go, Lizzy.
Well, I was going to say, I think that both parties should be doing, an equal amount. Like, if you're both working, then you can both do things at home as well. I don't see why one person should be doing all of that, like cooking and cleaning. I don't think the woman should always be having to do that. Why can't you both like cook and clean, like take turns during the week? If people want to have 50-50, then act like it, I don't know, man. I don't really agree with the whole like if a man is expecting me to like know how to cook and clean. I don't know how to cook. I mean, I could clean, but who can't clean? But like, I don't know, man. I don't like the idea of like women are cooking. I think we could both do it together. That's basically my point.
Okay. All right. So if you want both to put in equal effort, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because that's a partnership. Because a marriage is technically a partnership, if you think about it. And in a partnership, you have to be a team, and teams work together and to get like the job done. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. No worries. All right. Thank you, Lizzy. Diana, what's your thoughts about this post?
I agree with her because if the girl's doing everything in the house and also working, that's gonna be a lot of weight on her shoulders. And it's just no. I'm also on like her side too, because like my mom would tell me like you need to learn how to cook, for your husband. But I'm like I would also expect him to like cook me dinner, once in a while. Like I want somebody to cook for me too. Like why can't men cook? Like why can't men clean up too? Like
It's called cooking, not cook queen.
Right, like but not just that. I also read this one quote like a few days ago where it was like, if I'm gonna be paying half and half, it's funny, but like it was like if I'm gonna be paying half and half with my boyfriend, might as well just live alone. Because it was like they rather just let the guy pay all the bills. If he's gonna expect you to be the housewife, it's better that you just be the housewife and he just pays the bills. Because like cleaning and cooking, that's work. That's work. And like you'll be tired after work and coming home to clean up the house and cooking. That's just too much. Like you just want to lay down after work. You just want to go to sleep, rest. So if a guy is expecting you to do all that, it's just like, nah, I feel like it should also be 50-50. And the guy shouldn't expect the woman to do everything. Like they should also help her, around the house. Cause like you have 2 feet, you have 2 hands at work. Use them. Like you could use them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything? That's it. Kind of.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
That's
No
right
worries.
now.
No worries. All right. Thank you for sharing. Kate, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts about this, Kate?
So I have some pretty radically different thoughts on this. I actually am very extremely uninterested in the fact of like if a man should be cooking or cleaning. That's actually quite a boring topic to me. Sure, a man could cook and a man could clean, and a woman could cook and a woman could clean. I mean, I think that like the realm of talking about gender roles is useless in a group discussion, because that's something that should be decided upon in a relationship and in partnership. However, what I do find to be extremely interested is the way that that woman communicated that. Because you can only imagine if she's using that language to communicate something that she feels frustrated about, and she's using that kind of diminishing language on social media, I can only fucking imagine how she treats her man at home. And
that's a good point.
I did a Instagram story, I think it was the other day, on this topic, where I consistently see in relationships almost like a not a role reversal, but a masculine feminine dynamic reversal. And I'm talking about not man woman, but I'm talking about like a divine feminine, a female being who's in her divine feminine is going to be more in the role of receiving. She's going to be nourished by that. And a masculine being is going to be more in the role of stillness and in presence. And what happens so much that I see in relationship, I'm actually super curious to hear what Kristina has to say about this too. Because I looked over at your face and I saw you do some cool micro expressions. I was like, oh, I wonder what you have to say about this. But what's happening so often in relationships, why relationships are unhappy and failing, or you're staying in it and you're miserable, is because the female is showing up in her wounded masculine. She's showing up in her wounded feminine. And it fucking sucks, because what happens is it literally castrates the man, where he feels diminished and he feels demasculated and he's not in his masculine power. But we as women, we want to be in our feminine. Like we want to be ravished. We want to be taken care of. We want to be, we can go on a whole topic down that of what it is that we really desire. But the way that we're going after so many women is through nagging. And it's through social media like that. It's through communication that literally, like I said, it castrates the man. It literally is taking his masculinity away from him. And then the women are bitching, oh, the men aren't doing this, the men aren't doing that. I think it's actually, there's a lack of responsibility. Men and women can both cook. That's not interesting to me. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right. No worries. I appreciate that. The
Yeah.
divine. I like that. I like that. What you just said. Kristina, what's your thoughts, Kristina?
I think that one of the biggest problems starts when you think that relationships can be 50-50, and they cannot always in every aspect be 50-50 ever. It's just not realistic, right? I mean, sometimes it's going to be 50-50 and sometimes it's going to be 80-20, and there will be times where it's 100-0, like at different points in your relationship and for whatever you have going on in your relationship. And you should be able to go with the ebbs and flows. You know what I mean? Like there are times in my relationship, and most of the time, where I am thrilled to cook and clean and do most of the housework, right? But if I have something going on with work and I'm really busy and my days, you know, just happen to be that way, my boyfriend's going to make sure that we eat. And he's going to, you know, scrub the toilet if he has to. And it's not like a thought. It's not like a structured thing where you come into this relationship and you expect for, you know, one half to do one thing and one half to do the other. But what I will say is that what I see in this post is a woman who is so burnt out in her masculine that she's angry. And what woman wants to just like to take care of her man or her partner when they also have to share all of that financial responsibility together? So yeah, I mean, Kate, when you started talking about just this weird reversal that's happening with the masculine and feminine, I mean, that's a huge thing. And yeah, and sometimes it is a little boring, right? That you're just, it's like, is that what we're like deducing relationships down into, where it's like, this is your role and this is my role, and you know, it's so much more complicated than that. But basically, I mean, the moral of the story is that, like, I don't think that relationships can be 50-50, like just as a rule of thumb, just like this relationship is 50-50, because there's ebbs and flows, and it can't be that way all the time, especially not with like everything in the relationship.
Okay. All right. I like that, a 50-50, your perspective on that. It's not 50-50. Okay. All right. Ladies, do you guys have any, you know, before I share my thoughts, do you guys have anything you guys want to respond to say to each other?
Another thing, I feel like before a couple moves in together, I feel like they should communicate on what they want, like how they want to work things out before they move in. Because I feel like some people rush into that before they actually communicate on how things are going to work out. And that's what causes problems sometimes, because you don't really know what to expect when you move in with that person. Like, so I feel like you guys should sit down. I feel like people should sit down with their partner and like actually communicate, like, okay, this is like, how do you handle this? How do you handle that? Because I feel like when you move in with somebody, that's when they really show you their true colors. And like, you should like communicate first before you make that big step on moving in with each other. Because like, you know, you actually just want to be able to, and like, I don't know her name, my bad. But like she was saying, like communication is the big key. Like you got to be able to communicate. And I also agree with you with the like, not everything's 50-50. Cause like I see, you know, my mom and like my stepdad, I see how they be working too. And like I see how my mom sometimes she doesn't do everything in the house. He be helping her out, and like, you know, like she was saying, it's not always 50-50. But you know, I mean, yeah, like I feel like communication is definitely a big thing. Communicate on how you want things to work out when you guys move in with each other, so not so many problems, you know, can be happening.
Okay. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing, Diana. Now I have before I share my thoughts, like I have a question I want to ask the ladies. If, because obviously both these on that post, both the men and women, they both work the same. They both work, right? But I want to ask you, if a man is working 100% of the time and he's paying 100% of the bills, does that, then the woman, do you believe that woman should cook and clean if the man is paying 100, if the man is 100% of the bills? I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on that. because on that example was, they both work. So, she justifies why it has to be equal. I get it. I can understand her point of view if they both work, even though I might disagree. But what if the man is paying 100%, all the bills? So should the woman?
If that's the agreement that they come to.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
okay, so
I think that's something you decide in the beginning.
okay, so if the man pays 100% of the, I mean, of course they have to agree, but do you think it's absolutely okay that if a man says pays 100% of the bills, then naturally, like, she has to bring something to the table. And obviously, if she's not working and financially taking care of the financial burden of the responsibility to take care of to take care of all the bills and make sure we have food, roof, rent, place to live, and everything, electricity, hot water, then because the reason why I say that, because there's a lot of women out there that even if the man doesn't pay 100% of the bills, there's still women out there that think that I shouldn't have to cook and clean, that a man shouldn't demand that from me, even though he's. But like I said, I want to ask your opinion. What do you think that if a man pays 100% of the bills, a woman should pay cook and clean?
Or if he makes enough money to hire a housekeeper and a chef, that's also fine too. You know what I mean? Like I just, like, and this could be like even another topic. Like I think one of the problems with dating and relationship advice these days is that there must be rules. There must be set rules for every couple and every person, and what to respond to every text and that sort of thing. And it's like, you know what? Like I just picture, I mean, it's not for me, but maybe someday it would be for me, and that would be my relationship. But I mean, hey, if he's making enough money in this day and age for his woman to stay home, he might also be able to afford the housekeeper and the nanny and the chef. And you know what? She can sit around looking pretty, painting, going to yoga with her friends, and they can have a wildly successful relationship. So I don't think that there should just be expectations and rules like that. Like it's just like for each couple, as long as they're coming to an agreement and having real realistic expectations of one another. I don't think it's that black and white. I think it's very, very nuanced.
Okay. Oh no. Okay. All right. What about you, Kate? What do you think? If a man, I mean, what's your thoughts? If a man pays 100% of the bill, do you think if it's a woman should cook and clean?
Yeah, I agree with Kristina. I don't think there's like a should there. I think it just depends on the partnership and what feels right to them. It almost sounds like a man's perspective where like it should be that way. It's almost like it's coming from a wounded place of unworthiness or invalidation within him, if it has to be a certain way, right? Because it would be requiring the woman to act a certain way in order for him to not feel a certain thing inside of him. And then that would require what I do, which is inner work and shadow work and things like that.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I totally agree. I think it's super nuanced, I think it could work a million different ways.
Okay. All right. What about you, Diana? What do you think? If a man's paying all 100% of the bill, do you think the woman should cook and clean?
Well, me personally, like, I would still want to be making my own money. So just in case if something happens to him, I can also like help him out, like I just want to make sure like we straight. Okay. So like if you one day, I don't know, something happens with your job and you don't have money, I want to make sure I still got money, just like you was giving to me, I can also give back to you, like, so you won't be feeling like I was talking about the weight on the shoulders, like, oh, I got bills to pay, I got rent to pay. Like, if you need it, like, if one day you need money, I can also help you out as well. Like, I feel like that should be in a relationship. I feel like nowadays, a lot of women, they expect the man to pay the rent, like the whole rent and everything, but they don't know how to cook and clean. Like, how do you expect the man to pay the whole, rent, bills and all that, but you don't know how to provide for a man? Like, if you want a man to provide for you, I feel like you should also be able to provide for a man. Like, it should be vice versa. Like, don't expect something if you can't give it back. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, So I feel like I wouldn't want my man to pay everything for me. I feel like I still would want to have my own money too. Like, I wouldn't always want to depend on him. I want to have my own money too. So like, I would still want to work for myself. But I mean, if like Kate was saying, like, it's all kinds of different situations in this. Like, it depends on the relationship of those people, for real, for real.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. No worries. Lizzy, I already asked you that question, right? Or did I not? Did I? I can't remember.
I think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay, what's your thoughts, Lizzy? Like, if a man pays 100% of the bills, like, do you think a woman should cook and clean?
Well, I'm kind of with her. I don't remember her name. I'm so sorry. The girl just before me. I agree with her. I'm very independent, and I would rather be making my own money as well, even if it's not as much as him. I'd like to still have my own money. I mean, if he's making 100% and then like paying the bills, I think that would be okay. It kind of depends where y'all stand in the relationship. Like she would Kristina, is that her name? Was saying before about how like y'all set your own roles or whatever. I think it has something to do with that too. If y'all set those roles for each other, then that's okay. I mean, it kind of depends how each party feels about it in the relationship. So, I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't want to do it that way, but I mean, it's not that big of an issue if you did want to do it. It's not that serious. I don't think it's like misogynistic at all in that situation.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No worries. No, I just wanted to ask that question because one of the conversations I do have with men is like when I have conversation with men, like this is one of the problems when you date women, modern women, especially anyway, we all live in America. I know a lot of you guys said, the relationships are not, I think Kristina said it's not 50-50. And I know Kate said it's a partnership. But for me personally, I do believe that relationships is always based on gender roles. That the man has a role that he plays, a woman has a role and she plays, and they both come together meeting each other's needs. And of course, you add on the love and the affection, and they love each other. And I think that's what relationships work. And I do believe if you ask most men, they would prefer their woman, especially they're very masculine, especially the type of men that most women look for. Ask most women, they want a guy that's confident, they want a guy that's ambitious, they want that's responsible, has a stable career, is able to take responsibility for her, the children, and pay bills. So those men, those types of men, if you ask those men, they prefer, they appreciate a woman that cooks and cleans and is feminine. One of the things that a lot of men that they're facing today is like, because there's no more roles now, a lot of women like that woman on that post, they don't feel like they can be limited to a role. So they don't want to cook and clean no more. And I do believe that in a relationship, there's always going to be a role that we have to play. So if a man doesn't cook and clean, there's other things in the house. And a lot of women forget that. There's a lot of things in the house that a man has to do also. So he may not cook and clean, but he'll mow the lawn. He'll do all the outside stuff, the yard work. He'll do all if the pipe breaks down, or the toilet breaks down, something inside the house, the handyman type of jobs. That's usually expected most of the time, that if something breaks down in the house, or there's something that needs to be carried, or something that's a big furniture, something that needs to be moved, the women expect the man to do that. So that's why one of the things I do hear a lot of modern women is like, they always say, why do I cook and clean? But then when there's things in the house, like mowing the lawn, break down in the house, they always expect the man to do it. So I do believe in a relationship, that's why I believe that a man should naturally expect a woman to cook and clean, Just as much as a woman expects a man to mow the lawn and go outside, if there's any danger, something there's a noise, it's a weird noise outside at 12, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the man goes out and looks around and check that out, not the woman. So there's different roles that we have to play based on our biological nature and how we are built and designed. But the problem today is that we don't, like a lot of you guys say, you guys don't believe in that no more. It's partnership. We want to share it. We want to share these responsibilities, but that comes at a price. So if you guys, but like Kristina said, it doesn't work, because if we share all responsibility, so that means if we're sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a weird noise outside. That means we have to share that responsibility. But realistically, the woman's not going to go outside to go and check the weird noise at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's the man's job. So that's why I believe the partnership is BS, because when it comes down to those responsibilities in real time, there's certain things that a woman expects the man to do, and there's certain things that a man expects a woman to do. And the people that do find long-lasting relationships are men and women who are natural in their role, whether it's feminine and masculine, and of course they stay in their role and appreciate each other's role. They don't overstep their boundaries of their role, and they make it work. But that's my thoughts on it. I do believe that for women to cook, it's normal. That's what men want. And in relationships, both men and women have their needs. So if men out there saying, "Hey, I want a woman that cooks and clean," and if we flip a lot of women out there, they don't want to cook and clean, that's fine. But my only pushback to that for those women, okay, if you don't want to cook and clean, you expect the man to go half on you, then you better go half on all the responsibility you expect the man. So if something needs to be mowed outside, if something breaks down in the sewage, the pipes, if there's weird noise outside, something needs to be protected, then those women, I expect you to go half on that responsibility as well. But the problem is, let's be honest, most women won't do that. So they're very conditional on what they want. So they want us to cook and clean, but they still expect us to fulfill all other roles when it comes to our role as a man. And that's the problem. That's the problem where a lot of men are facing. They're like, I work too, you work too. Okay, you want me to cook and clean because you don't want to be cooking and clean, because you don't want to be tied down to that feminine role, because that's what Western society is telling you, or maybe that's what third wave feminism is telling you. But they still expect the men to fulfill all the other roles when it comes to protecting and cleaning and mowing the lawn and lifting all the heavy furniture. They don't want to go half on that as well. So for a lot of men, they're finding that that's the challenge I hear from a lot of men when you meet these women on like that Facebook post. I don't want to cook and clean, but the story behind it is there's other things behind closed doors, like I just mentioned. There's other responsibilities, and women expect us to do 100% of the time. And you guys will not. You guys are not willing to negotiate on those roles. But when it comes to us to say, "Hey, I want you to cook and clean," that's negotiable. So that's just the problem I see today. I just do believe that relationships comes down to gender roles, and we have to accept our roles. Hey, like I said, if you don't want to accept the role, that's why a lot of men are like, you know what? If you don't want to cook and clean, deuces. I'm gonna go find me a woman that cooks and clean, that's feminine, and she's not gonna harass me about cooking and cleaning. She accepts her natural role as a woman, and then she's gonna let me just be a man and not castrate me or demasculate me as a man because I want you to cook and clean. Yeah. That's my thoughts. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Kate. You want to?
Okay. Yeah. So I actually agree with a lot of what you said, but to a degree, because I think that it's less about the cooking and cleaning, but it's definitely about a man wants to feel masculine and a woman normally, right? A normal woman who identifies as feminine and masculine who identifies as, man or whatever, but adjust for if you're outside of that box. The men want to feel masculine and the women want to feel feminine. And it's less about a woman feeling feminine by cooking and cleaning, but it's more about a woman really being in her feminine, because when she's really in her feminine, it's such a juicy, like round, wonderful, yummy experience. And it's more of I think it's more of an emotional state that actually serves the masculine, right? Like it's more of, and since we're allowed to be very blunt on this podcast, it's actually comes down to like, how much like does the woman really like worship a man's cock? That's going to put a man in his masculine way more than if she's going to fucking cook in the kitchen. Because if she doesn't want to be cooking in the kitchen because she doesn't like cooking, then she's going to turn into a needy bitch because she's going to get resentful. But let's say she loves giving head and she wants to worship a man in that way and she wants to express her feminine in other ways. That man's going to walk out every day going to work feeling like the fucking man, and he's going to love it. And it creates this polarity dynamic in a relationship where there's better sex, there's more fulfillment, there's more polarity. I completely agree with what you said when it's like men don't want to date another man and a woman doesn't actually want to date a woman. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? In that kind of box that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it reminds me, I did this one TikTok video that I got basically ripped a new asshole for because all of the feminists came at me all at one time. They all swarmed to this one TikTok video. And it was basically like, how to please a man, how to be feminine so that your man can be masculine. And all of these women were just like, fuck that. We need to be equals. Strong men like strong women. I was like, no, strong men don't want strong women. And it's not that the woman has to be weak, because being in your feminine, being receptive is magnetic. It's powerful. It's just a different type of power than the world is used to seeing. We're used to seeing men power, which is great. That's a beautiful kind of power as well. But there's a more covert, quiet power that the female has when she drops into her feminine, you know, and they're going back to that original quote that you wrote. There's such a different way that she could have communicated that of like, I mean, can you just imagine if she goes to her man and she wants him to cook more because she doesn't like cooking? She's like, oh, baby, like, oh my gosh, I'm so fucking sick of cooking. And if we could order in, that would make me feel so hot and it would turn me on so much, while touching his arm. Like, what about that? What about being theatrical and like playing and inviting fun and polarity dynamics into the relationship rather than being righteous of like, I deserve this because because of the rules. Like, I totally loved what Kristina said. Like, what the fuck is with the rules? Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
But I think that applies to the rules of like a feminine creature cooks and a feminine creature paints her nails and a feminine creature does X, Y, Z. I think that's total bullshit. But where I do agree with you is that the polarity dynamic, and I think what you're speaking to on a deeper level is that like your masculine is going to be so nourished by being in a relationship with a deeply feminine woman. And that's really what you want. And I'd imagine, I guess, and I could be wrong, but I guess that if you were with a deeply feminine woman, you could really care less if she's cooking. If she's in her feminine, if she's really in her feminine and she's serving your masculine in that way, it's going to be nourishing beyond maybe what you've ever experienced, unless you have that or have experienced that.
I mean, I'm very attracted to very feminine women, and most feminine women I've come across with, you know, some of them, most of them are able to cook and able to cook. Some of them probably couldn't cook, but they were willing to learn, just because they wanted to, you know, add value to they wanted to add value to the relationship. I don't mind if a woman doesn't want to cook and clean. My problem is when they make that they bring that up as far as like the expectation that, you know what, I'm never going to do this.
Yeah.
All right. So if a woman comes up to me, if I meet a woman, she's very feminine, she doesn't know how to cook, it is what it is, right? I can hire a cook. I can, or she can learn how to cook if she wants to, if she wants to put in that effort. My problem is when women come up to me and make that as a demand to be in a relationship with them. You know what? I'm never going to cook. Take it or leave it. And I'm like, okay, peace, leave it. All right.
It's harsh, take it or leave it. It's harsh.
Yeah.
Right. No. Well, the reason why I find that as well, I don't. It's BS. It's BS when they say that, because like if they want to go half, like I told you before, it did because I met women like that. You know, they'll come up with me and then, you know, I don't cook and clean. We have to go half on that. That's my expectation. That's my standard. And I'm like, okay, so you want to go half? So for me, because like I said, I believe there's gender roles, right? There's things that men prefer to do in a relationship, and there's women. Naturally, I don't want to cook and clean. So I tell her, okay, so if that's a responsibility, we have to go half. So that means I have to go half of that on you in order to be in a relationship with you. So does that mean that there's other roles that I can expect you to play half on as well? So if I have to go half on cooking and cleaning because that's your standard as a woman to date you, so that means, okay, well, but can you go half on mowing the lawn outside? And they're like, oh no, I'm not doing it. But they're okay, but they're okay with me. So they expect me to negotiate to be able to fulfill her needs and her roles that she wants as a woman, right? And I respect it. But then I just find it funny. Is this okay? So mowing the lawn, how come? Because you don't want to cook and clean because that's usually typically a woman's job. You don't believe in that. You want that to be equal. Okay, fine. So mowing the lawn, that's typically a man's job. But since you want to go half cooking and cleaning, I need you to go half on mowing the lawn outside. Most women are like, nah, and that's my problem. So they're not fully equal openly. They're not openly equal to all responsibilities for both men and women. It's only conditional. It's only the ones they don't like. But then every other responsibility, they still expect the man to fulfill. So it's never a true 50-50 partnership or shared equal responsibility. It's just the ones that they don't want to do, and they want the man to fulfill all my role as a man, plus the roles that she doesn't want to play as a woman. The man needs to add on to that as well. But then if I expect her to play the roles that I'm traditionally expected as a man to do, but she doesn't want to do that either. So that's my I guess the hypocrisy I see when women say these things, because it's not really true. It's just the roles that they don't want to do. Because if you flip it to my side, okay, let's go half of my roles as well. No, you're a man. You should cook and you should be outside protecting, and if there's danger on the outside, weird noise outside, you have to go outside, mowing the lawn at 100 degrees outside in the summer. No, you should do that. But you can't cook and clean. So that's just the hypocrisy I see for a lot of modern women that have that mentality. So if you're gonna go equal in all roles, then let's do it. But let's be honest, most women are not willing to do it, but they still want the man to fulfill. So that's my only pushback. Like, what do you guys think about that?
If you guys don't mind, I feel very much like it's so combative the way that it's coming across it, and it's I'm not saying just from you, Will, like in general, men and women, there's so much of this like combativeness. It very much feels like siblings who are arguing over doing the chores, and there's no polarity in that. There is no, like, I can't imagine a couple who can ever have a healthy sex life who fights over chores. Almost like it's so brother and sister who are arguing with it. That I don't know. I just feel like there's like, for you, Will, right? Do you care about the house being clean and you being fed, or do you care about her doing those things for you? Like, it's that she has to do this exchange of duties with you. You know, like what is it? Is it the effort that she's putting behind it that makes you feel nurtured? Is it the action of it being done and you feeling like it's fair? Or is it that you want to be well fed and have like a nice space when you come home? Like, what part of it is like the important part for you?
Yeah, well, for me, it's like, I like to just work. That's me. So I like to work, bring the bacon home, take care of my woman, take care of my family. So, when it comes, I can cook myself and I can clean for myself, right? But I appreciate when a woman can do that for me, because those are things that I don't want to do. So, and so when I meet a woman that loves to cook, loves to clean, likes to keep a house nice, knows how to keep a house, man, I value that as a man, to go out to the world and work and go through the things I do daily. The stuff I have to go through, but then to come home to a home cooked meal, man, that for me, man, I love that. I appreciate that, to come home, there's a clean house, and there's a warm cooked meal from my partner. Those are things that not only me, but men, we appreciate those things. So for a lot of people today, they may think that, because a lot of times people will like undermine or undervalue cooking and cleaning, but it's for men, especially men who like to work, like myself, I value that so much. But I don't. So that's for me. Like, I like to go out there to conquer the world and come home and just and have peace at home, to a nice, clean, peaceful home, into a home that she has already prepared a home cooked meal for me. And for me, that's I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's something that adds value to my life. Things that I don't have to do myself, I can rely on my partner to do.
I think that if you're leading with that, like, I love to work and I love to provide, then if she doesn't know how to cook, she's gonna learn how. Like, I don't know. I didn't know how to. I grew up with a single mom. My mom was very like, she was always very like boss babe. I mean, you know, she's been with my stepdad for 20 years, but she's always been very like single, make your own money. Like, I had this very, you know, like, I guess that wounded like masculine within myself, where I felt like I was going to have to do all these things and always make some money and do all the things. And I didn't know how to cook when I met my boyfriend. And I never thought that I would ever in my life want to cook for a man. But when he was, you know, when he would come to my place dirty and sweaty with calloused hands from work, I learned how to cook because I was turned on by that. And I just think that if you're coming from that place of like, this is what I want to give to somebody, then I could picture then a woman then being like, oh, I want to be the match for that, you know, rather than like, this is what I expect from you. Like, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
No, what I'm saying is I've met women, right, and I discussed it with them, like you know, this is what I like. This is the standards for me, and this is the things I like to what I bring to the table as a man. And then for me, I like to communicate. I want to know like what's your standards. I want to know what's her standard, what she expects from the relationship, so that way we have an understanding, right? So because I like to go in a relationship where we know our role and we know our responsibilities from each other's. For me, it's a more the structure in our relationship, right? But like I told you before, is when I meet a lot of masculine, independent Western women, they want to go half on everything. When I meet very traditional feminine women, you know, they understand the roles and what she plays. So when I meet very the masculine women, and maybe modern women, feminist women, in the third wave feminism, they don't want to play that. They don't want to play it, and some of these women like they don't even work. So like I'm the one, you know, I am taking care of everything, and they still don't feel the need to cook and clean, right? So it's just but like I told you guys before, like, you know, both men and women, we have different things what we value in a relationship. And especially men who like to work, who like to get their hands dirty, who like to go out there and work long shifts, long hours. All they care about is to making sure that they provide and take care of their woman and their family. For men, we want to, you know, we want a home to come, a clean home to come home to. We want a nice cooked meal, and we would appreciate if our woman would, you know, fulfill those needs for us, you know. And if she doesn't have, if she can't cook, that's fine. You know, we can either learn, or maybe we can hire somebody if your man, you know, financially has the financial means to buy to add that additional bill into the relationship. But the thing is the cooking, the cleaning part. Like, you can't tell me like you don't know how to clean. You can't tell me that you can't learn how to clean. So for me, it's just like, I think for what a lot of frustration for men is I think for a lot of men is like, we're trying to tell these women like what we want and what they look for, but these women don't want to hear none of it, or they're like, nah, it's my standard or yours. And for a lot of men, they're like, you know what, if we're not wasting our time, and we're just gonna go find a feminine woman. And I have a lot of friends, female friends of mine, that the same way. Like they don't want to cook and clean. What I have to explain to them is for the men that they want, the hardworking, ambitious, the men that want to spend long hours of their time working so they can build a secure financial future. Those guys don't want to go work all day and come home and cook and clean. They don't want to. So they're gonna find a woman that does that. So I tell this to my girlfriends, to my family members who are very close to me. I tell them that all the time. It's like, that is why men are not picking you, especially the men that you want. The guy that's lazy, the guy that's unambitious, the guy has no dreams and no goals, no responsibility for his life, he will accept that from you, right? But the guys that are really working themselves, improving themselves, and have a future, they're trying to build a future, those guys value, they don't want to cook and clean when they come home, and that's how guys are. And if you don't appreciate or listen to what they're telling you, what their needs are, and that's fine because that's your choice as a woman if you don't want to cook and clean. But that is why a lot of these men are not picking you, especially those types of men that they want. But I had that conversation. I don't want to. I can cook and clean, but I don't want to. If I could find somebody to do that for me, that's somebody I love, I will 100% go with that girl 100% of the time because I'd rather just go cook it, go work at work and come home and have her take care of that. And for me, I'll value that, and that'll make me loyal to that woman because she's providing value to my life that supports something that supports my life, makes my life easier, it makes my life better. So she added value to my life, and luckily that I can add value to her life by giving her financial security and being that provider and protector for her. Yeah. Anybody? That's just my thoughts on it. Ladies, anything you guys want to add on to that?
I mean, we can move on because I could talk about this for like the next 5.5 hours of my life. So I mean, it's just such a complex subject, you know.
No, yeah, it's just something I just see today in today's dating market that people don't want to play roles no more. So there's no more roles no more. So, but that's one of the challenges a lot of men is like masculinity, femininity is a role, whether you like it or not. And I think that's just one of the things that we have to face, challenges we face today in modern day dating. But nevertheless, if you guys are watching this right now, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for the conversation, ladies. So I'll start off with you guys. Kristina, what is your topic and what is your question you bring up? And we'll discuss that.
So I had a few things. I mean, we were talking about rules, but I've noticed something, and I would love to get everybody's like thoughts on it. I've noticed something, I guess because I'm a dating coach, I end up getting a lot of targeted ads on my Instagram for other dating coaches, and lots of coaches, like I sell programs. I don't know, Kate, if you do the same thing where you have, digital products that you sell. And I've seen a lot of digital products from coaches where they sell scripts, like texting scripts. So for example, like if you're not sure what to say in a text message when you're seeing somebody new, or you don't know what to say in messages on a dating app. And for some reason, it just bothers me so much. And I just don't think that it's because I don't like rules. It's something that bothers me a lot. And I find that like, unfortunately, some of the dating advice out there can be, I don't even want to say manipulation, but not authentic to yourself. And I would just be really curious to know if that's something that anybody would ever buy, or if they would ever like pay for a download, whether it be $7 or $47, and like what your thoughts are on that.
So if people are willing to buy a text script,
yeah, like just the thought of there being these rules and like exact phrases that we all should be saying, like say these 5 words to make him crazy and things like that. It just, I don't know, it drives me insane. And that's just like my opinion on it, is that like there aren't just like certain rules or certain magic phrases that work to have like a successful relationship or to have a better love life. But obviously people are paying for these things. So I'm just curious to know what anybody else thinks about that.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Kate.
No, I agree. I agree. I feel like they're really stupid and manipulative most of the time. Every time I see those, I feel like they're written by people who have never been in a relationship. Like that's how ridiculous they are.
I feel like the conversation should come naturally. If it's not there, then it's not there. Why are you trying to force it? Like if you can't communicate with that person, then obviously you shouldn't be communicating with that person, because the conversation should come naturally. Like you should automatically know what you want to tell them, not what a dating site is telling you to tell them. Like you should just already know. Like you shouldn't depend on a dating site to be able to talk to somebody. Like if you should already know yourself, like if you want to be talking to that person. Because there's some people that, I don't know, like y'all had text people and it's like you got along real quick. Like I feel like that's how the conversation should be. Like you guys are naturally just, like the vibe is just naturally there. Like you guys can talk about anything and like everything, like without forcing, any communication. Like you guys are just talking. So I don't think I wouldn't buy that. Like, no, if I can't communicate with you, then that's obviously a sign that there's just nothing there. Like, I don't have nothing to talk to you about. So, but yeah, I wouldn't buy that.
Okay. All right. No worries. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, I think that it doesn't solve the actual problem. I'd imagine from like a business point of view, that's like if you have programs, that's probably like their lead magnet to get email subscribers so that then they can really deliver, and hopefully with integrity, but we don't know for sure, the actual work of what really needs to get done. Because the truth is, from a neuroscience point of view, is that every single human being is walking around sorting for what is familiar to the checklist that they hold relative to their own past. And they're constantly sorting for that. So to say that there's like a script that's going to work for everyone's neurology to excite them or to turn them on or to make them feel good is absolutely insane. But what it does do, again, from a business point of view for the consumer, is it's like, ooh, instant gratification. Like, maybe I could solve this without actually fucking doing any of the actual work, without actually paying for a professional like Kristina to actually help me. Right? Which is probably what I'd imagine you do, like one-on-one coaching and programs as well.
Yeah.
That's what those people really need. They really actually need one-on-one coaching of reflection of like, hey, here's actually where you're getting this wrong. And I would imagine typically it's more of a mindset thing and more of a, what I find to be really attractive, and actually human beings do sort for this, is more of a congruency thing. If you're dressing, walking, talking, acting like your authentic self, it tends to be very attractive, with confidence kind of wrapped up all in that. It's when you kind of try to be somebody else, especially women, but the human neurology will point that out as like, wait a second, something's not quite right here. And I think that's the trap of using things like texting scripts, because it's not actually attunement. It actually creates a lack of intimacy and a distance, because you take your locus of focus, which rhymes, and you put it internally. You go into your head and you disassociate from your body, and you disassociate with the other person, and you're acting from a script. So it's not going to yield good long-term results. And from a business point of view, might be great, because it might be the thing where it opens up the doorway for somebody who really needs help in dating and in talking to people, because I know that, I think it was Diana was saying, like, if there's no communication flow, it's not going to work. But I mean, you'd be surprised how many people struggle with communication flow, how many people struggle with being so much in their head that they can't actually connect with another human. A lot of people, and a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people walk around silently suffering with social anxiety or feeling disconnected, and it leads to all kinds of addictions and all kinds of problems behind the scenes. But that kind of goes down a rabbit hole into more of the root cause of something that is presented very superficial from an advertisement.
Hey, Kristina, who are you trying to target? Are you trying to target women to buy these or men?
Oh, in my business?
Yeah, like the for the script.
Yeah, I work mostly with millennial women. Like, I would say the age group, it's even a little broader than I intended, but like age like 28 to around 40 are a lot of the women that I deal with.
Okay. No, the reason why I asked is, for what I've seen, men, there's a big, men are more than open to pay for a script to do better, to have a better chance of women. But I don't think women would buy that script, because I think for men, it's like, we are the pursuers. We're trying to find any kind of edge we can get to be able to get the attention of the woman we want. So whatever it's a script to be able to, to cold call her, or to be able to approach her, or a text script, like you said, because, I know a lot of men that pay a lot of money for these male dating coaches, and they teach them all these techniques, and they charge a lot of money for these things, and they willingly pay it. But for women, I don't know. For me, I just can't see a woman who would pay that, because I think most women, like on social media, they constantly have men on their DMs. So I think women don't have a problem with like not having nobody to text, or a guy not texting her. She just has to pick the guy that she wants to give attention to and just start responding, and that guy will respond to her. If that makes sense.
It's so interesting that you have that perspective. See, women, that's not the problem. The problem is not the quantity of options that they have. That's not the problem. It's who they're choosing, and it goes wrong, and then things keep going wrong, and there's usually a pattern there. It's usually about dating better. I mean, when I was single, I mean, somebody in my DMs was like, ooh, that for me anyway, that's not the issue. The issue is not the pursuing. The issue is not I would say, I'm generally speaking, obviously, but it's not like, the pursuing and finding enough people to date. It's really that like confidence. It's that making better choices. It's that getting in touch with your body language and being able to flirt and relax and that sort of thing. So people pay for different things. It's interesting the perspective that you have, Will, and I don't know, I hope that with these conversations, especially with women, that you're seeing that there's this whole other side of the coin, that problems are existing, but just for a completely different reason. I mean, text scripts for the what I'm speaking about right now, the texting scripts, I think are just like manipulative. But I've been in desperate situations where I was single or maybe went with a breakup. And I remember I was this close to paying for something that was like, say these 5 words to get him back. Like, I remember thinking like, am I going to pay for this right now? And then like talking myself off of a ledge. But when you feel like nothing's working, you'll pay for things. Oh, online dating it sucks for me. I can't find anybody who's great when I go on a date. Maybe if I'm just sending these messages and saying these things a different way, it'll yield a better result. So I mean, people pay for anything.
Yeah.
No, I know. I was just talking about like texting, the text, because you were talking about text script, right? Like,
that specifically.
Yeah. So I don't like I said, for me, I don't think women have a problem with that when it comes to men texting them or reaching out to them on their DM, to have a script to get a script for guys to respond to them on a text or on a DM.
Yeah, think about it. Girls ghostwrite each other's text messages to guys. That like we never know what to say. Like girls are always helping each other respond. It's the responding. It's not the pursuing. Like it's not like it's not pursuing in a text.
The responding. Like so, the guy hits her up, and then what does she say to respond back to him?
Yeah, so things along those lines. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's easy. Just say I want sex, and then he'll come. Magic words right there. 5 magic words, maybe 4. I want sex. That's 3. It's not a secret. Because guys, that's why most men are digging in their head when they're approaching women. Let's be honest. All right. Anyways, okay, that's cool. That was a good question. No, yeah, I mean, the thing is for me, is like I just, I see a lot of men because I know a lot of men pay for stuff. I just when I have my girlfriends, like I don't see them paying for it. Like I do them to pay for a matchmaker. I've got girlfriends who pay a matchmaker like to help them on a matchmaker. I've just never heard of a woman like paying for a script. So that's for me, that was really interesting just to hear that from you. Maybe I'm sure there's a lot of women are. But just on the differences between men for guys, I see guys all the time pay for like how to approach a woman, texting, social media. I see guys do that all the time. I've rarely seen any women do that. That's why for me it's kind of foreign to hear that. But but yeah, that's just interesting to hear that. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, Kristina. If you're watching this right now, let me know what your thoughts are. Press like and subscribe to that. Press that like button. And what's your thoughts about the text script and what's your thoughts about the topics we discussed in hand? But we'll keep it moving. Lizzy, what's your question and topic, Lizzy?
Well, what are y'all's thoughts on toxic relationships and healing from them?
Oh,
like,
okay.
Well, I can't really give an example. It's a very broad category. Yeah, I just want to know everyone's thoughts because I have a lot of them.
Okay, how do you, so ladies, this is the topic in question. How do you heal from a toxic relationship? Kate, I'm interested. What do you think?
I think that like part of, I mean, it depends what kind of toxic relationship I guess you're referring to. If it's more in like the narcissistic toxic relationship, generally that would be a lot of self-reflection on your own emotional and physical autonomy, mainly emotional autonomy, I think, unless there's kind of any physical trauma there as well. And really, really taking the internal steps to build your sense of self. Because what typically happens in a toxic relationship or in a narcissistic relationship is that the person on the receiving end of that, their sense of self gets degraded. They lose their sense of identity. Yeah, and it feels very much like you're not in your body, or you're not in control of your life, or you kind of forget who you are and what you like and what you're into, and you can feel very, very lost because your sense of self, that foundation, was probably weak to begin with. Sorry, my chair is really squeaky. And taking it down to the roots of that, if you don't see a pattern, I like going to the root of everything. But taking it down to the roots of that, it probably comes from childhood of not having parents or caregivers who could be that healthy mirror for you of what your truth was. For example, you have a tantrum as a 3-year-old and you're met with, well, go have a timeout because that's not acceptable. That happens, those micro tears happen again and again and again and again and again over time, and you learn my truth, that I'm angry that I can't have something that I want, is not acceptable in relationships. So you actually learn over time to repress your truth. You repress your emotional truth. You repress. And then you enter adult relationships and that becomes your normal. And so you actually sort for, like I was talking about before, all human beings have a checklist that they sort for, whether that checklist is beneficial or not. It doesn't matter. It exists in your subconscious mind. You will sort for partners that mirror your first loving relationships. Of this person is not going to allow space for me to be me. And there's a part of you that actually, and maybe it's not you, but a part of that person that actually feels normal in that. It's like, oh, well, that makes sense. There's a sense of safety in it, not because it's right for you, but because it's familiar. And the human neurology will always prioritize familiarity over what's right or wrong. And that's in your work. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I've noticed it's like you're so used to being in that routine. It's like you're like terrified to get out of it. And even though you know it's like better to get out of it, it's like you feel like you're like, this is like a weird explanation. You feel like you're in like a mouse trap. You're like stuck in a way. You can't do anything about it, but you can at the same time. Like there's a way to be freed. But what were you saying?
Yeah, but basically, yeah, that is, I don't remember actually what I was saying, but it does definitely feel like that. Like it's almost like your logic mind can see that you could be free, but there's something else inside of you that's not, you don't have what's called agency to actually choose that. And does that sound correct? Is that the way that I said that? Does that sound like kind of like what you were saying?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going for.
Yeah. And the way out of that, like if any of the viewers, or if you are in a toxic relationship, one of the things that you can do is, instead of trying to approach it from a willpower point of view, trying to be the mouse getting out of the trap, because your subconscious is going to fight you on that every time. Be like, no, it's not safe. No, it's not safe. Get back in the trap. Get back in the trap. Not because it's against you, but because it loves you so much that it wants you to remain in familiarity. There's a triangle that I don't have, but it's very simple. It's a triangle. On the very top of the triangle, you have actions and behaviors. Below that, you have beliefs, what you believe about yourself. And then the bottom of the triangle, the girthy part, is your identity. And so if you can actually start to imagine and spend time with the identity version of you who's out of that relationship, who feels free, who has a sense of autonomy, who's out doing the things you love, who's living in alignment with your authenticity and your purpose, or whatever it is that excites you most in your life, and you actually spend time with over time that identity version of you, it will create the neural pathways in your subconscious mind to actually become that person. And when you become that person, it naturally changes your beliefs. And when you naturally change your beliefs, you naturally choose different actions and behaviors. So now you're not the mouse trying to get out of the trap, but it's so hard. You're the mouse that's like, oh yeah, no, I am the mouse that gets out of the trap. It becomes an I am statement rather than you trying to force something that's actually against yourself, if that makes sense.
Hey, Kate out here dropping bombs.
Yeah.
You dropping bombs, Kate, dropping bombs.
Yeah, do we have a sound effect for that?
I wish I had a gun. I had a gun, but I had a gunshot. But let me give you an air horn. So that was some good stuff, Kate. Thanks for dropping that.
Yeah.
I think we get addicted to chaos too. Like, I don't know. I think that when it comes to, especially somebody's in like a pattern of toxic relationships, right? I think that we get addicted to chaos. And if things feel calm, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And you're thinking of like what can go wrong. And again, like you said, Kate, it's this familiar place. And I think a lot of it, I mean, you know, it has to do with the way you grew up and your early relationships, and chaos feels very familiar and you almost become addicted to it. I mean, I was doing, you know, because I like to take courses myself, and I was doing like a feminine prosperity course recently that I was a student in, and I was doing like a deep fear inventory, right? So I was thinking about how I wanted my life to be and a lot of my own like inner bullshit about money. And I was doing this exercise, and it might even, you know, you deal with more shadow work and trauma work, Kate, but just writing like, I was scripting, you know, dear universe, I deeply fear having the, you know, whatever desires I wanted in my life, because you know, and you're writing all the things that you're afraid of and almost what you're putting in your own way to not get the thing that you actually want, you know? So I was in a toxic relationship for 4.5 years, and I was, you know, from my teens to my early 20s. And I remember it was like, I wanted to get out of it so bad, but I didn't, because I thought the friends I let go of didn't want to be friends with me anymore. And I thought that, oh, I put on some weight, so who was going to want to date me? And I thought people were going to think I was stupid and were going to say, I told you so. So it's usually like, you know, you're finding reasons to get in your own way to not get out of it, instead of like turning that off and really acknowledging those. And then that just like, I don't know, I think that addiction to chaos sometimes, like when things feel calm, you almost freak out more than when they feel chaotic.
Nice. Thank you for dropping.
I feel like writing down your feelings is definitely a big help on like healing yourself. Like I used to be in a toxic relationship too. We were together for like 3 years. And I just remember every time I felt like a certain way. See, it was so toxic to where like if I told him how I felt, he would just turn it back on me. Oh, you sensitive. Oh, you be insecure. Oh, like it just felt like I couldn't talk to him about my feelings. So I would write it down. I would just always remember, I would just write down how I'm feeling. And like I would keep them. And like I still have them. And I look back now and I'm just like, wow, like I've grown so much. You know, like I'm glad I don't feel that way no more. Because when I would write down, I just remember I would be writing down like, I hate myself, you know, like I feel so unloved. And it sucks being in a relationship with somebody, but still feeling so alone. Like, but I feel like also another thing that I feel like sex is definitely a reason why a lot of people can't leave toxic relationships, because when you have sex with people, you create a soul tie with that person. So, you know, it's hard to leave somebody when you have a soul tie created. And a lot of people, you know, don't really know about soul ties. They think, you know, you just have sex with somebody. Well, no, it's like your souls are really being connected when you're having sex with somebody. So, and then a lot of people, when they argue, like, see, when I would argue with my ex or whatever, I remember like we would like talk, but then we would make up by having sex. And it's just like it was like we argued for nothing, for real. We were just gonna go back and just do. Like and then it's just like And then I felt like I was just too attached to him that I couldn't leave. And like, I got cheated on and I still took him back because I was also like, I'm already too deep in the relationship. And I feel like a female's too scared to leave the relationship because she's like, what am I going to do? Because when you're in a relationship, you get used to being with that person. And so it becomes like a habit being with that person. So when you don't have that person around, it's like you lose that part of yourself. But at the same time, when I was in a relationship, I definitely did learn. I feel like I left mentally first and emotionally, that when I finally like ended it like permanently, I wasn't too hurt because I was already going through it throughout the relationship. So by the time we ended it, I was already like halfway healed, but I still had to heal a lot more. But I feel like I was learning how to like, I was learning to love myself throughout the relationship. Like it was hard, but I feel like you learn to love yourself. You either learn or you keep on being stuck in those paths, in those toxic paths. You either learn or you keep being stuck. And I feel like for you to be able to heal from it, you gotta also be able to learn yourself. Like you gotta be your own best friend throughout those situations. You gotta be able to talk to yourself. You gotta be able to like give yourself positive affirmations. Like, if they're putting stuff in your head like, oh, you insecure, or like you sensitive, or like you doing this, you doing that, you shouldn't let somebody else tell you about yourself. You should be able to like tell yourself like, nah, that ain't true. Like you beautiful, you got this or whatever. You gotta be able to put yourself out of that out of that toxic situation. Childhood definitely has something to do with it. Cause like, I grew up not really seeing how love works. So when I got into that relationship, I thought it was normal, arguing with your boyfriend, going through all them problems with your boyfriend. I thought it was normal. And so I had to teach myself like that ain't really love, like arguing every day and like, somebody, I would hold on, my bad. But like I would get controlled a lot, basically. And I thought it was normal because I was like, he's a boy in the relationship, I'm not surprised he's trying to control me. But that's I don't really know how to put my words together. It's like a lot of ideas are running in my head right now, but it's just like I don't know how to like say it. But like I already forgot. My bad. But it's just a lot. Like it's just a lot. Like, yeah. My bad. I got stuck on my words.
It's all good. It's all good. I mean, for me, Lizzy, the question for me is like, it's real. I always try to look at things very logically. It's just like you have to look at your decisions and ask yourself like, why do I keep going back to those toxic relationships, even though I get hurt all the time? You gotta do something like reverse engineering, especially when it comes to decision making. And a lot of times, from men and women as well, when we kind of dissect why we always keep going back to toxic relationships, you realize it's an internal battle within yourself, and that derives from your childhood. But I know for a lot of women, when it comes to toxic relationships, it starts at home with your relationship with your father. I think for a lot of women, they didn't grow up with a strong masculine man. They didn't grow up with a healthy man. They don't know what to look for when it comes to picking men, especially now for a lot of women, they go into relationships really, really early. A lot of times, you don't know the right qualities to look for, and you just go out there and try to look for a relationship to fill a void of something that was missing in your life, depending on how your childhood was, depending on how you grew up. I think for one thing, I always tell a lot of women, especially my younger family and siblings, I always tell them for a lot of women you need to spend time with a lot of women who are in healthy, strong relationships with good men. And I think that's something I always advocate for a lot of women to do, is look at the type of men that you are getting in a relationship with, especially the men who are toxic. Look at those men and look at the behaviors they exhibit, and ask yourself, why do you pick those behaviors? Why do you pick those traits? And you gotta reverse engineer that and see, like, what did that? Why? Because there's always a reason why women pick the men they pick, even if it's a good man, even if it's a toxic man. A lot of times, as a woman, if you keep picking toxic men, there's a reason why, and you have to but that comes down to you gotta have that internal conversation. I think Kate was talking about that herself, but that you're gonna find out through your own internal healing and self-improvement and working on yourself as a woman. You're gonna figure out why you make those decisions. But I always tell women, like, to spend more time. And when I meet women who have come from toxic relationships, I always say, go spend time with women who've been in good, long-lasting marriages, relationships with good men, and then you're gonna see the difference in qualities of the men that they hang around with, and depending on the woman the type of men that you look for. And unfortunately, today in the modern world, a lot of times the type of examples women today look up to, the type of women that they look up to today, it's not necessarily the best role models for women, especially those women. A lot of the celebrities we like to look up to, especially like Cardi B. That's the type of example of relationships that a lot of women are looking up to, and naturally, those are the type of men that they look for. So I think one of the things that's lacking today in the modern world is strong men, and also strong women as well, and strong marriages and strong relationships. And those are the type of relationships we need to bring up and promote. A lot of times the relationships that a lot of young women, or the types of women that a lot of young women looking up to, their relationships are toxic as well. So that's become normalized in today's society, that being in a toxic relationship is normal, and you keep going back to it because a lot of times that's why you think it's normal, until you finally go and hang around with women or with couples that have been in strong relationships, and you realize, oh wow, like these are not the type of you gotta start to see the different quality in men. But that's just my thoughts on that. It's like you have to look at your decision making and ask yourself, like, why do you keep making those same traits? Why do you keep picking those same men? And do that. Look within yourself, and you're gonna find those answers. And a lot of times that comes from your childhood, from your relationship with your father, how you grew up, and also, like I said, knowing how to pick a good man. My best advice is go spend a lot of time with women who are in relationship with strong men. And you see that all the qualities of good men and toxic men, they're all the same. So once you find that pattern, it's easy to, when you go out and find. And also, I think Diana brought up sex. I think sex culture today is one of the reasons why a lot of times men and women today make bad decisions when it comes to relationships. Because I think I heard somebody say that sex builds connection. I don't think it does. I think sex builds attachment. So a lot of times when you have sex, you get attached to somebody. So you're not connected with them, you're attached. So when you're attached to somebody, that means that you're willing to be attached. You're willing to overlook their bad qualities because now you're attached to that person. That's why I believe love is like reciprocation. You shouldn't be attached to somebody, because if you're attached to somebody, that's unhealthy. It should be reciprocation. Yeah, that's my just thoughts on it, just based on my conversation with women who are in toxic relationships. I just find there's a pattern when it comes to why they pick those men, and it always derives from their childhood, especially with the relationship with their father. And also, a lot of times I notice a lot of women today, they have no idea to distinguish a good man and the toxic man. It's all the same to them. And especially when we live today in a dating culture about sex, casual sex. So now people are pushing for sex first before dating and building a relationship. I think we should date first, get to know each other first before you have sex. When you add sex to it, then it intensifies our emotions. And when we make decisions based on emotions, and as you guys know, when we make decisions based on emotions and don't have some kind of logic, then that's very dangerous. Then you're going to overlook a lot of red flags. But yeah, anybody else want to add on to that?
relationships usually don't start off toxic though. Like they start off good, but I feel like people get way too comfortable throughout the relationship that they stop trying. They stop trying to like they it's just like they get too comfortable, they stop trying to like I feel like in a relationship you should always try to keep that fire. You should always continue to be like the person you was in the beginning of the relationship. Like don't get used to me basically. Don't lose appreciation to me once you get me. Like I feel like you should continue to like act like you're still trying to get me, like still show me the love you were showing me in the beginning of the relationship. Don't lose it while we already tied down. Like don't lose it, because I feel like that's when they stop trying. That's when they like stop showing you the cute gestures like they were showing you to try to get you in the beginning. And that's what causes us to feel like we're not loved no more. Like, why are you acting different now? Like, and like
I think a lot of women, but based on what you said, Dan, I think for a lot of women, they date a man's potential. They don't date the reality. A lot of times women will date a man potential. So even though the reality is he's showing you everything what he is as a man, but deep down, for a lot of women, deep down, like he's gonna change. He's gonna change. Like he's gonna change. He's gonna change. You're dating his potential. But the thing is, like I do believe in any relationship, you should know when to walk away, and especially when all the signs are there. Right. So the thing is, it's really, really hard, especially when you get in a relationship with somebody. That's why I think there should be a difference between dating and a relationship. I think you should date somebody for at least, me personally, I think you should date somebody for at least a year, because that's more than enough time to know that person, to know their habits, to know their mentality, to know their goals, to know like their good things about them, the good traits, the bad traits. And then after a year, then you can go into a relationship. A lot of times people are just jumping into a relationship. Okay, I wanna get that title. You don't really know that person yet. So that's I think there should be a difference for a lot of people. The difference between dating and a relationship, like date somebody to know them first, and then after like a long period of time, then you can put that title. But if you're just jumping into a relationship really, really early, within a month or within less than 6 months, then you clearly see everything that you can see from that man. Then you got to take that emotion, because if the guy, I always tell women this, like if a guy wants to do it, he will do it. Like if he wants to be in a relationship, if he wants to grow, if he wants to make those changes that you're looking for, he will do it. If the man's not doing it, then there's probably a reason why. But if he's not doing it, to make him better and to make your relationship better, then that's a clear sign right there, like what his intentions are. It's just like this notion that he should change. Maybe if I stick a little bit longer, maybe if I wait it out a little bit, he's gonna change. He's not gonna change. All right. Anybody else want to add on to that? This is my thoughts.
Well, I would like to veer a little down the fork in the road that you just said about dating for a year. So are you saying like would you date other, like you guys would both date other people in that year?
Yeah.
And you would just Why do you think a year specifically?
I think minimum a year, because I think a year is
before making things exclusive.
Yeah.
You don't think like 3 months is enough time to get to know somebody if you want to be exclusive with that one person?
I think 3 months is not enough time.
I think a year is enough time for somebody to even choose to marry somebody else and get married.
Yeah.
A year is a long time.
Yeah.
I tried talking to somebody for a few months, get to know them, but like I feel like they got tired of waiting. They get tired of waiting, and like they don't want to keep waiting up. And like I understand like they should respect your boundaries and stuff like that, but a year, it is too long. I feel like they're just gonna meet somebody new
because what you're trying to find, because I think a year is a good enough time to find somebody, to get to really, really know somebody, right? Like anything less than a year, I don't think that's enough time. But also, a year is a long enough time to see if somebody really wants to be with you. If you find somebody that you date within a year and they still want to be with you after a year, then that's a good sign as far as their commitment and their intentions, right? Because if I date somebody for a year and then after a year they just find somebody else, or they don't want to, or they don't even make it into a year, that's fine. It just shows that like me and that person, hey, we're compatible, or maybe our intentions wasn't as strong enough to make it past that year. But I think I need somebody that's really to go to that long-term investment, because relationships, marriage, that's a long-term investment.
I think to make things exclusive, though, I'd have to argue that a woman wants to be claimed by a man, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's my experience. So waiting a year to choose to be exclusive and date other people within that year, I mean, I think somebody who's willing to just wait till you're ready to claim them after a year doesn't have a lot of like self-worth or confidence, possibly. Because I would say that most other people, if they're dating other people at the same time and they're keeping their options open, they're going to probably get into a relationship with somebody else and connect based on the fact that, like, I don't know, if you're pursuing a woman and you're deciding that you want to date, don't you not want her to date other people? If you're like, no, this is the girl for me, like, you want to jump on it, and you want somebody who has other options, you know, like, not somebody who's only solely relying on you and putting all of their self-worth into you, and you're not making things exclusive. I think you have a little bit of a wall up, Lil.
No, it's just no. The thing is for me is just like, a lot of times when it comes to dating, a lot of people have this very scarcity mindset, like that. Okay, if for me it's like, I think a year, because I want somebody to know me as much as I want to know them. Because, like, I mean, 3 months, there's a lot of things people can hide in 3 months. And like I said, what's the issue for a lot of people when you hear from a lot of relationships? I got into a relationship with them and I didn't know that they were like this. Right? That's like, oh, how come he's not changing? How come he's not working on this? How come that can all be avoided by spending more time to get to know more of that person? That's why I brought up the year, because that's the complaint I get from from men and women, right? Oh, how come he doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to do this. He has his bad habits that came after we got into relationships, after 3 months, and then all these things come to surface. That is why I have that year requirement. Get to know them, spend time with each other, get to love, get to spend a lot of time dating each other, go on dates. Don't put that exclusive mark, because a lot of times what happens is when you put that exclusivity at a very early time, because now you're in a relationship, people are willing to tolerate bad traits and bad things in a relationship, because now I'm in a relationship. That's why I like to have a year where we're not exclusive, because if you start seeing bad traits and bad things, behavior from me as a man, you can walk away from it easily as a woman. You don't have, there's no obligation to stay with me because we are a relationship. You as a woman can naturally just walk away. There's nothing that's it's gonna make that decision easier. For a lot of times when you get in a relationship with men and women, 2 months, 3 months, some people feel obligated. Damn, like, I see all these red flags. I can't walk away because we're in a relationship. We have to make it work. Depending on your background, your parents tell you, or your religion tells you, hey, you have to make it work. So that's why I think a year of dating, no exclusivity, and get to know each other. Because I do believe if we really like each other and we appreciate each other's attention, after a year, we're gonna be like, you know what? Out of all the girls I'm dating, I really like this girl. And then after a year, I've got to know her a lot. I know all the good things about her, but I also know the shitty bad things about her as well. But I still like her. And even after a year, I'm not tired of her. I still want to continue this on. You know what? I think it's time for me as a man to have the conversation. You know what? I don't want to see these other girls no more. And then hopefully she gets to do the same for me. We've been dating for a year, even though she's dating other guys, but clearly there's something about me that makes me different from all other guys. And even those other guys out there, she wants to make that choice too as well. It's reciprocal. She's like, you know what? I've seen all the bad sides of him. I've seen all the good sides of him. I know he wants a future. I see all the things he's working for. Now she has a very great idea of who I am as a person and who I am becoming as a man too. Because you not only have to date that person, like I said, reality, but you also need to know what type of person is growing into. because a lot of times people go out of each other, right? And like I said, and she doesn't, like I said, she doesn't like who I am, then she has that freedom. She's not tied down by a relationship. She can walk away from me freely. And I really appreciate that. I don't want her to feel obligated to stay with me because of the relationship. So after a year, if we still like each other, if we're meant to be, then you'll make it work. I think that for me, that's just a better way to go into to have a relationship. So that way you're not tied. You don't have those issues people are dealing with today, which is, you know, oh, how come he's not like this? How come she's not like this? How come, oh my God, all these red flags and things just came up. But those are things that you could avoid it if you date them for at least a year and get to know them. But a lot of times people are just running into relationships because, you know, that's the dating culture today. People are making fun of you on social media because you're single. You feel like all your friends are getting married. You're the only one single. So there's a lot of pressure for people to get in relationships. But like I always tell people, like, take time. Like, take your time when it comes to relationships. It's better off to take time and select that one quality relationship than being in all these multiple relationships that you jump into very early, extremely early, and they get broken 3, 4, 5 times when you could just date it first for a couple of years and then find that one good match and then spend your time building with that person. But if you just keep jumping on relationships, I don't think it's a very logical or a strategic thing to do, especially when it comes to dating. I think taking time is what a lot of people forget. And the thing is the scarcity mindset. If I don't get this guy, I'm gonna miss out. That's why you gotta. I tell women all the time, you gotta work on yourself. Because if you work on yourself, improve yourself as a man and a woman, you have the confidence to know that you can always find there's somebody out there you can find. A lot of times, let's be honest, most people are not working themselves. Most people are not improving self-development, not reading books, not challenging themselves. So what happens is like they feel this need, like, okay, I gotta find somebody. As soon as they find it, they stick to them because they don't think they have that scarcity mindset to believe that they can't find anybody else. But I think that's very dangerous. So I think it's not only we have time, but also you have to also have the confidence as well that so you can go out there in the world and find somebody. But a lot of people are very scared, so they go into a relationship with fear or trauma from their past or from toxic relationships, and that's why I think people need to date better. Just the way we are dating is not really what I see young people doing today.
I guess also the other coin of that scarcity mindset, though, could be I need to hold on to this one person for this year because this one person wants to date me and I can't find anybody else. So it could also be in that aspect too. But you don't want to forget about like the only way to be successful, like with anything really, is to like be a little bit vulnerable. Like we can't prevent ourselves from getting hurt. Like we can only do it so much, like prevent ourselves from getting into relationships that fail. But I find that usually like the charade is usually up after like 3-4 months, right? You can only put on a front for usually about 3-4 months before all of these things kind of unravel. So after about 3 or 4 months, that's why I'm saying I don't think a year is really necessary. Usually after 3 or 4 months, your true colors start to show. You can't really hold back that much. I wouldn't say move in with somebody right away or after 3 months or get engaged after 3 months. But I think that deciding to be exclusive and not see other people, within 3 to 6 months, I would say the longest is I would say more than reasonable.
I think the reason why I think a year is good because people can mask themselves for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months. People are really good at masking themselves, right? So it's like so that's why I don't think people are willing to be able to mask themselves for a year. I don't think people are able to do it. That's why I think a year is good. Because sometimes people will just tell you what you want to hear to get whatever they need from you. Whatever it takes them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 months. But they're not going to do that for a year. They're going to this girl is too much. I'm going to go find out and move on to the next person. I just want people to protect themselves from the wrong people. And also, like, let's be honest, ladies, a year is not that long. Come on.
I wouldn't stay with somebody for a year if they like.
No.
The options were open.
Never.
Even if you met,
I have too many men on my phone for that.
Even if you met, I'm saying, if you met a guy that had everything that you're looking for, right? Like you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't give him a year window to date him.
No, because you gotta claim what you want.
Right. I would low key feel disrespected if he was keeping his options open. If we were talking like
Yeah.
8 months, like why you
Bitch.
still got options open? Like,
Well, he's communicated. He wants to know you, and if he's like, you know what, I want to really know who you are as a woman because I know there's a lot of crazy men out there, but there's also a lot of crazy women
I
there
don't
as
really
well.
believe
So it's
that
like,
though.
yeah, but I'll be like, if
Wow.
you want to get to know me, then get to know me. Then, like, why you
Yeah.
still keep your options open? Why do you still want to get to know other people? Like, if you want to get to know me, like, because I feel like you're not really paying attention to just me. If you have your options open, you're still getting to know other people. So how are you really getting to know me? You know what I mean? Like, you're not really getting to know me because you're still getting to know other people. So like Kristina said, she said like 3-4 months, I feel like you should already know like whether you want me or not, or like 3 to 6 months. But a year, I feel like you should already, like, after a year, them options should already be dropped. Like, that's doing a little bit too much.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying it's good to have options, because like, say as a person, like you have 3 options, right? And all 3 are bad. All right. Or maybe you just want to date 2 people and all 2 are bad. So that's why I'm saying it's good. That means you're limited to those 2, 3 terrible people. But if you keep your options open, 4, 5, 6 people, then you get to see what's out there. And unfortunately for a lot of people, they don't really go out there and try to see different options. So they usually, what happens is like we find that one person and we try to make it work with that one person or 2 or 3 people that we meet. And that's why a lot of people, like, the discussion was toxic relationships. Like, we keep going back to that same person. We keep going back to those same people. So that's what happens when you don't have options. So if you have options, you see, if you have 2, 3 toxic people, then you have that one person or two people that are really good, like good men, you're gonna see the difference. Those 2 guys treat me way better than those 3 toxic guys. Because you have a variety of options, you can distinguish things. But that's why I'm saying, that's why you need to receive a variety so you can see the difference between men and women. A lot of times people are just dating 1 or 2 people, and then if that's your option, that's your only options, that becomes your expectations of reality. I'm not gonna stick with somebody that's toxic when I'm also dating somebody else that shows me a different reality that's actually a good person. Like, this person's calling me a piece of shit, but they're attractive. But this person's also attractive, but treating me treating me very nice and with affection and with respect. So that's why I bring up the options part, because I don't think a lot of people are doing that. If you have options, you get to see the variety of men and women of how they treat you. But if you limit your options and you draw the 2 worst men out there, you found the 2 worst men out there treat you like shit, then that's your only option you're gonna deal with. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of people stay in toxic relationships. But the reality is there's a lot of good men out there, but you have to go outside of what the men you traditionally date. So I think it's healthy to have options in men and women as well. But then, like I said, the ones that you like. So when you date people, even like for me, like I'll try to date options. But when I meet a woman that I really, really like, I'll probably put more attention to her. I still will date, but I know I like this one. So I still put a little bit more attention to her. But I want to get to know her first. I want to know her morals, her values, the way she treats her dad, the way she treats her mom. There's so many things, like, because you guys understand, like, once we go into a relationship, because for me, once I get married, it's over. I don't believe in divorce. So this is why I have this mind. I don't believe in breaking up. So there's no going back for me. So that's why I really want to make sure that this person is the one I want to date, because I'm going to make it the rest of my life to make her happy. But I need to make sure that this is somebody that's going to work out for me, and know everything about her the same way she's for me. But I think for a lot of people, they're not doing that because we live in the instant gratification age. Fast money, fast food, fast delivery, fast sex, fast relationships. We want relationships now, but people don't understand. If you ever meet people who've been in good relationships, they spend a lot of time working with each other and getting to know each other. Like, they spend a lot of time, and that's about relationships. Relationships takes a lot of time to build. But unfortunately, on social media, they've convinced a lot of people you can find your love in 3 months. you can find your future matchmate in less than 6 months to a year. And statistically, people who get married in short periods of time, they fail miserably in marriage. That's why I believe in taking the time. Take as much time as you can. For me, it's a year, but if it takes 2 years, 3 years, but like I said, I think that's what's lacking today is people are not taking the time to know somebody before they decide to get intimate, we have sex, or decide to put that exclusive. I think we're having sex way too fast, and then we're getting into relationships way too fast, and that's why we're having all these issues that we see today. And I think taking the time, taking a step back, and having options a little bit, so you can get to know the marketplace, you know what's out there for you, so you're not limited to one man or to one woman or one type of man or one type of woman. So you know what all types of men out there for you or what types of women. I think that's like that can help you to select a good quality person. But like I said, that's just me how I observe the dating market. But anyways, yeah. So but please, don't stay in toxic relationships. You need to those guys out there, guys that are toxic relationships, you get out. You gotta get out of that. Yeah, thanks, Lizzy, for sharing that. Diana, what's your topic and question? I know you had something you wanted to bring up.
What qualities do you guys think people lack in relationships? Like, what qualities do people lack in relationships that causes like the relationships to not work out? Like, you guys understand? Like, do they lack effort? Like, I don't know if that's a good question. You could put the crickets, but like what I mean, for example, like I feel like some men lack on showing emotions because they don't want to feel weak, you know. So it causes, that could cause a problem in relationships.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So that's like an example for me. Like I feel like men lack on showing emotions because they don't want to seem like they don't want to show weakness. But I feel like everybody has emotions. Like you shouldn't be scared to show emotions. You shouldn't be scared to tell, your partner on how you're feeling. Like y'all should be there to help each other mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. Like it shouldn't just be there for like sexual, it should be there for, mental, all of that. But,
are you going to talk about the red room, Will? Are you going to talk about the red room again?
All right. So your question is why guys are not being vulnerable to share their emotions with you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I have a very I believe as a man, he shouldn't be vulnerable. That's my belief. Men should not be vulnerable to their woman, and I have my reasons why. But since we have Claudio here, Claudio, thank you for jumping on, and thank you for jumping on being part of the this cast. And so she's asked this question that she said a lot of the men don't want to show their emotions and don't want to be vulnerable. Diana, you think that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
It's
okay. Go ahead, Claudio. What's your thoughts about that?
It is funny because on the last podcast we talked about it, and the analogy we use. Do you guys saw the 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah, did you guys watch that movie, 50 Shades of Grey? Okay.
On the 50 Shades of Grey movie, he only give us, he tell her to be in the house, and the only thing he says is, don't go on that room. That room is sacred. I don't want you to go on that room, and it's the red room. But she's so curious. She has a mansion, she has an helicopter, she has a lot of cars, but she wants to go on that room because it's the only room that the guy said for her to not jump in. That's for us guys. The red room represents where we put our emotions. So a guy will give you money faster, will give you sex faster, will give you a house faster, then he will show you his real dark secrets, emotions, etc. Because the first motive is he thinks And usually that happens. Women usually are not built to handle men trauma. So usually we talk this on the last podcast. There is a video by Aban Preach where he tells his girlfriend at the time that the biggest regret that he has in his life is that his parent never told him that he was proud of him. And some months later, in a discussion, the first thing that she used against him to hurt him was that, oh, you are like that because your father didn't love you and he wasn't proud of you. And if you go look at the comment section on that video, it has like thousands of comments, and a lot of men were telling the stories, and it was the same thing. I told her this, she lost the attraction about me. I told her I was molested, and she lost the attraction about me. I was worried about my job, and I lost the attraction about me. Even like 2 days ago, 2 months ago, remember the guy that on the United States that killed his girlfriend and then killed his wife because he was a doctor. He was earning like $200K a month, but he was in a battle for his son, for the first wife, and she told the judge that he was touching the kid. So he lost the battle, and then he got his girlfriend pregnant. And the problem was when they were pillow talking, he said to the girlfriend, my biggest pain, I'm on depression because I miss my kid and I'm afraid I'm going to lose him forever. She got pregnant, and the thing that put him over the edge and that made him kill himself and kill the both woman was because she knew that his biggest fear was losing his kid. And when she got pregnant and they got angry with each other, the first thing she said was, I'm going to put you to the same hurt that she put you when you're not going to see this kid. So the problem with opening up to women, usually for men, the first one is like, we feel that most women can't carry a secret to the grave. That's the first thing. You go talk with your girlfriends, the mother, etc. And the second thing is that you guys are extremely emotional. You are driven by emotion. You work really well when the motor of your car is cold, but when you start to get angry, the way women usually fight is they go grab the thing that they think that you will hurt the most, and they will throw it, and then they will understand that they went too far because they shouldn't pick like the weakness that the man showed them and throw it against him. And that's the thing. Men usually don't go that deep because they know usually men have nothing to win with that. If I give you a problem and put you on your lap, you are not going to solve it. If I'm having problems at work, you are not going to make it better by me just talking with you. If I don't have money, I'm not going to you. I'm going to my father, to a friend, to my teammate. I'm not going to you. If I was molested, if I am having really big problems, you are not going to help me solve it. So men usually don't put that on their lap because they know they are going to get, usually sooner or later, consciously or subconsciously, you are going to use it against us. And to prove what I'm saying, we'll remember the girl that was on the panel, that she was married and had 2 kids. She was super nice with us. She talked really nice with us. And when I said this, she told, okay, I need to go to apologize to my husband, because one time in their relationship, she probably did the same. And that's why I am telling you, it's not because we don't love you. It's not because we don't care about you. It's not because we are not willing to die for you tomorrow. It's because we are protecting ourselves, and we are protecting ourselves against, we are protecting yourself, because if I give you a knife and you stick it on our back, I rather see you get a knife that was on the ground and stab me, then give you the knife and say, put the knife away, please. I don't use it. And as soon as I get my back turned, you stick me with the knife that I gave you. So to be simple. That those are the reasons.
All right, Claudio. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Claudio. Diana, I want to ask you a few questions. Do you like a man to be strong?
Yes, but
Okay. No,
I feel like that's for, oh
let
wait,
me let,
keep
let
going
me
back.
yeah. Do you like men who are resilient, very resilient?
I
Like
mean,
no matter how hard things happen, he's gonna be resilient, find a solution, find
The
a way
Superman, the
to solve it.
Superman
To solve it.
archetype.
yes, but I feel like you should
Okay.
also show me like I feel
No,
like
no,
that's where
no.
that's hard.
No, no, I'm just asking. Do you like men who are very disciplined, consistent?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like men who are very ambitious, go out there and make sure he takes care of you and your family, puts you in a better place?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's I hear this a lot from a lot of women, right? Especially women in America, the Western women, they're like they want their men to be vulnerable. Why can't men to be vulnerable and talk about their emotions? I think a lot of that has to do with like Disney. Disney has created this image of women, perception of how women look or expect men. So women want that man, that Disney fairy tale man that's loving, is vulnerable, all about his emotions, romantic. But the reality is, like, men and women biologically, because we're different, we are wired differently, and how we process emotions are different. For women, the way you guys process emotions is very expressive. For men, we like to handle our emotions on our own. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to figure it out. We're very logic driven. We're not emotionally driven. So when we have, like, for women, when you guys go through problems and things, you like to invite your girlfriends or find somebody to talk to and express your problems and things, and that's how women deal with it. For men, we just like to figure it out on our own, and a lot of times, and that's just how men deal with their emotions. A lot of times, what happens is in America is because you watch the Disney fairy tale or you listen to other women, you don't know. When you meet men who deal with their emotions that way, a lot of times you think there's a problem, and for a lot of times that's just how men are. A lot of times when this is how men deal with a problem. When we deal with a problem, we just want to find a solution. And once we take our time, whatever it's the red room, whatever it's a place we need to go outside, whether it's working out, whatever it's hitting the punching bag, it's something that we have to do in order just to figure it out, to figure out a solution. And once we figure out a solution, we just move on. We don't really want to talk about it. And if a lot of times for a lot of women, they can't understand. They don't understand that, like, we don't need to talk about our emotions and our problems in order for us to find a solution and to move on. Is we just find the solution and move on. And also for a lot of the things that women look for in men, ambitious, confident, disciplined, resilient, courageous, strength. A lot of those things for a man to be like that, that means that he has to be able to master his emotions and he has to be able to discipline his emotions. Like, if you want your man to be ambitious, to be resilient, to be disciplined, to be confident, to be assertive, he can't be very in tune with his emotions, because if the man's very if he makes decisions based on his emotions, that's why you find a lot of men who has issues, or they can't keep a stable job, or he runs away from the responsibility if a woman gets pregnant. Like, that's why for me, whenever I hear women that say that they want their men to be vulnerable, I think that's very dangerous for a lot of young boys to hear, because men need to be brought up as men. They need to be teach to be able to discipline their emotions, so that way when they go to life and when they deal with women and when they have families and when shit happens in life, or you get pregnant, he doesn't make an emotional decision and run away from his responsibility as a father, as a man. He makes a logical decision. Fuck, you know what? I'm with this woman. We have a baby. I'm not ready as a father yet, but logically, the right thing to do is to figure it out and keep pushing, be resilient, have the strength, and let's make this family and build this family and make it work. But if that man is emotional, like the way you wanted to be, that's why you see a lot of men, they run away from responsibility. So that's why that's why I say that's your question is, If your man is not emotionally open to you, I would just say that's just him being a normal man. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, he's probably dealing with something. Let him deal with it, and then men will always come back to you when they're ready. Or a lot of times they just move on from it. It's just you just but you know it's just we deal with things differently. Now if it's mistreating you and is doing something terrible to you, and then that's a different issue. But if the guy that you're with, if he's doing everything right as a man, but the only thing that he's not doing is he's not being emotionally vulnerable to you, then I'm telling you right now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just for men, like for me, like when I deal with shit, my emotions and the traumas and things I've gone through, I don't want to talk about. All I don't care. Go ahead, Claude.
No, I'm just saying the funny thing is the emotional guy is the guy that's going to hit you. He's the guy that's going to put you to the roller coaster of emotions that you were talking about. He's the guy that's going to try to manipulate you and use the dark triad of narcissism. I know what she's saying. She's saying, I want him to show his emotions about our relationship, about how he feels about me. When he's angry, and I want him to talk to me. I think that's what she's saying. But the thing is, we can't pick and choose what emotions we use. With women, sometimes you are sad and you are talking to me. Sometimes you are going to be mad at work and you are talking to me. Sometimes you are with pain of your periods and you are going to be angry against me. The thing is, women usually want a filtered way of emoting. They want you to be emotion like the woman usually is. She's going to talk about her day and stuff like that. Emotional men, the prison is full of emotional men. Being emotional for a man is extremely dangerous. So when you ask about a man to be emotion, I know what you want. You want the Superman, like the stoic guy that gives you security, but can open a little bit about his emotions and not losing his masculinity. But as soon, remember the question that we asked the same girl that was guessing this? How many times can he be emotional? Can he come crying home every day? And she was like, oh, no, not that much. That is too much. You can pick and choose what you want, but be careful, because when you are going to open up,
the thing is that
when you something real quick, Will, because I actually got to jump off. I have 2 kids that I gotta get home to. But I want to weigh in just real quick. I do actually see what you're saying. It actually, when a woman is with an extremely emotional man, it goes down to that polarity. They're not in their masculine. However, what you guys are speaking to from a woman's perspective of not being vulnerable at all and not sharing emotions, it's a complete repression of emotions, and it makes you not be present in your body. So when you're fucking a woman, when you're making love to a woman, when you're creating intimacy with a woman, that piece of it is missing. For an extremely divine masculine man to really show up for a woman, they have discernment with their emotions. And if that's too much to ask for, then that's too much to ask for. But you're not going to ever fulfill a woman. She's not ever going to open up her heart. She's not ever going to give you the gifts that the divine feminine has to offer you if you have a disconnect between your body and your emotions. I'm not saying be vulnerable all the time.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask you a question before you jump out?
Yeah, and then I do have to jump off.
What if I'm emotional with my friends? It's not what she's asking. Be emotional with me. And if I say, no, I'm not emotional with you, I'm emotional with Will because he's my best friend and my godfather, she's going to be mad because she says, I want to be trusted. I want to feel that you need me. And when you go there, you aren't being emotional. She's going to be mad because you're not being emotional with her. So that's the problem. She's in fetishizing his emotions because she's saying, be emotional with me. If I go to work and I say, oh, I was emotional with Anna because I know her, she's my childhood friend, what do you think the reaction will be?
Yeah, because women want, to a certain degree, a level of discernment, emotional availability from their partners, because a woman's never going to open their body if they don't feel emotionally safe.
And not having sex with Will. You're not having sex with Will.
But
So you
that's
can
what
open
makes
up to
sense.
Will, and then you can also open up to your woman in the right way, in the appropriate way.
If you
What's the
want to
right
fucking
way? Can
please
you
a
tell us?
woman, if you want to give her like massive cervical orgasms, I'm not talking about the shitty clitoral orgasms that we all think is great. If you want to penetrate her to smithereens, she has to feel, her heart has to be open to you. And the only way for her heart to be open to you is if in certain times of discernment, she can feel your heart as well. And if you shut that down completely, you will never please your woman entirely. You will keep it surface level because you are disconnected from your body. It's a huge wound in the masculine consciousness right now. Like,
No, I think
Yeah.
there's a difference
it's huge.
between like. I
And
think
I'm
there's a
sorry,
difference
not to
between-
totally cut you off and end the conversation, but I have kids and I gotta go.
No, you good.
Okay.
Wait, I want to
Bye-bye.
say something.
Go ahead, Diana. Go ahead, Diana.
Okay, and you guys talking about how only men are the ones who lack emotions and all of that. Nah,
No,
never
we don't like
really-
it. No, we don't like
I
emotions.
never-
We process it differently. That's all.
No,
I'm
I
saying.
know, but like I never really have friends to like talk about, my problems with. I like to also keep my emotions to myself. But if I have a boyfriend or if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I'm gonna learn to like be more opened up to talk about my emotions. Like, even though I don't like to vent, I'm gonna still try to learn for you so you can, and that's like if he's lacking on showing emotions, and like she was saying, I don't mean like be too emotional, but like also don't be too closed up, because then I'm not really gonna know you, and that's where lack of communication comes in, and like lack of trust comes in, because like you should be able to trust me. Like, why would you rather go talk to your best friend about your feelings? Like, you're not dating him. You should be able to look at me not just as your girlfriend. You should be able to look at me as your best friend. Like, I should be your all in one, basically. Like, you should be able to trust me and like be sure that I'm not gonna go and talk about our private, conversations to other people. Like, you should
guys
be
are
able
projecting.
to, and like you should also know that if you are opening up to me, I'm not gonna look at you any lower than you. I'm not gonna look at you like any different. Like, I'm gonna still look at you the way I saw you when I first saw you. Like, but the only difference is like you're just being open up to me. Like, that's it. It's like y'all thinking a little bit too deep about it. I understand though. I understand what you're saying, but like,
Diana, let me
You
ask
are
you.
projecting a little bit.
So give me 1 second, Claudia. Diana, if a man comes, so you say you want a man to be vulnerable and emotional. So if your man comes to you, if you open that door, because that's what you want, right? Say every single time your man has a problem, every single time your man has something that's going on at work, or it's just something like he's just gonna come to you and vent to you all the time, just talking about his problems, venting to you about his emotions, about how bad his life is, every single day. He's doing this every single day. Is that something that you appreciate from him and respect as a man? If he keeps talking about his emotions every single time, every single bad something happens, he just talks about it all the time. His emotions. Oh my God, this and this and this and this and this and this. Every day,
no,
does this every day.
It'll make me feel like he sees me more than just a girlfriend. Like it'll make me feel like a friend to him too. Like, oh, like you're able to talk to me about all this stuff. Like, oh, you obviously see me more than just a girlfriend. Like, you see me as like your right hand or something. Like, oh, like I can't wait to go home and tell my wife or my girlfriend about this.
So if he does it too much, would it be a problem for you?
I mean, no. Like, I mean, there's a difference between being emotional and being opened up. Like, if you being too emotional, like, just like gaslighting or like manipulating me, I'm gonna know the difference.
No,
like,
he's not manipulating. He's
Just
like,
if he's just talking about like his day, then that's the difference. Like, I'm gonna be there, to talk to him about his day, just the same way he's there with, for me, for like when I want to talk about my day, like.
You are going to be fed up from him.
I disagree, because I think if a man comes to you and he talks about his problems every single day, venting about his problems every single day, eventually you're gonna lose respect for him, and you won't be able to see him as a man. right? And that's why I always say men and women were different. The way we are created biologically, we're designed to complement each other. There's a reason why men should be logical, and then you guys are emotional. So that way, when you guys are emotional and you guys going through your stuff, a man can be able to handle that with logic. You need that logic to talk to the man. Hey, honey, I just went through a bad day. Imagine if you went through a bad day, and he went through a bad day. So you guys are both emotional. You guys are both venting. You guys are both crying to each other. That's why you need a man to be. That's why I say that's gonna be a problem. A lot of women will tolerate for a while, but once he's just too in his emotions, he's like, man, this guy is like more emotional than me. And sexually, I'm telling you, you're gonna sexually lose attraction for him. You always want, for women, they want a leader. They want somebody that's gonna. I think there's a difference between open communication and vulnerability. Like, I can be transparent to my woman. I can be honest with my woman. I can tell her the truth, everything. But I'm not gonna be vulnerable every single time something bad happens at me at work. If somebody makes fun of me, like, I don't need to bring that home. I don't need to tell that to you. And for you, because I know how emotional women already are, it's just gonna cause issues. I need to, if I have problems at home, if I have problems at work, if I have problems with people in my past, I gotta deal with that on my own, figure out a solution and move on. But like I said, there's a difference between that. But you want open vulnerability, you want open man to talk about all his emotions. And I think that's very dangerous. And instead of looking, there's gonna be more time focused on on talking about the problem instead of figuring out a problem. If you find men who are very masculine, men who are very disciplined in how they control their logic driven, all they want to figure out is how to figure out a solution, how to figure how to. So, but
wait, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But this isn't making sense. Hold on. I'm sorry. Obviously, if Diana is saying that she wants her man to open up, that means he's not handling his emotions well enough that she knows that something is bothering him and he's unable to open up. If things are bothering you and you are handling it with stoicism and you're handling your shit, your woman is not going to say, oh, he's not opening up. You're not going to give any cue that something is actually going on. So obviously that means that he needs to handle his own shit, whether that's then he's not talking to other peers and men about the problem. He's not going and punching a bag to get his shit out. He's obviously not getting it out in a healthy way so that it's not bothering her. Here's the thing. Men, I think, can open up in the sense where nobody wants a man who's coming and crying to them every day. Women bring chaos. Our hormones go like this all month, and I cry every other day because I don't like the way this sweatshirt feels against my neck. You know what I mean? Like, we're emotional creatures. Do we want a man like that? No, nobody wants a fucking man like that. Nobody wants that. What we're saying is, and I think that this is what we're saying is, if something is going on, you can acknowledge that something's going on. We don't have to go on and on about it. To know that something's going and it's fine, and then you go and handle it. Women we like to commiserate. We like to talk to each other. You know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men like to go into their cave and handle their problem on their own. That's fine. But if his cave is spilling out into your relationship and you could tell that there's something pent up in him, that's where the problem lies. Then you're not doing a good job. If your woman is saying to you, you don't open up enough to me, then guess what? You don't seem very happy and confident either. If she's complaining you're not opening up, then there's something that's showing on your face, in your demeanor, then you're not doing a good job of handling your shit if she knows that something's going on. You can open up. And again, it's like Kate said, with discernment, you're choosing what to share. And being afraid that a woman is going to take your vulnerabilities and your emotion and turn around and use it against you, then she's an asshole. Then why would you want to be with somebody like that? That's not a thing that all women do. All women don't do that. That's psychotic.
It's not about that. Men usually are results driven. When we open up to women, men usually want the problem to be gone. So when I go to someone and put my burden on the person, I want the burden to be broke or split in half so I can resolve the other problem. Usually women, and that's why you said you have to open up in the right way. The right way is for me to put the weight that I feel that you can handle. But woman, as you said, are very emotionally charged just for existing. The day goes well, she's super well. The day goes wrong, and she's moody. What you guys are talking about is about the guy that, for example, is shooting me, like you feel that he has some kind of tension in him, but he's moody. You can feel on his day-to-day how he acts, how he talks, that he's like a spoiled brat that doesn't want to say what the problem is, and he's like, I'm not going to say nothing and go around. That guy is problematic, and those are emotions too. When the guy is moody and he uses like his emotional anger to, I don't know, blow out the world or put it inside and making everyone miserable, those are emotions too. But the thing is, when we open up to you, on 9 out of 10 times, you are not going to be able to solve the problem. When you go to your girls and you talk about something, usually women feel a little bit lighter. Men don't have the same. Men, if they don't solve the problem and they go talk to you and they say, oh, this happened to me at work, and you don't have a solution, it's going to make it worse because the fumes are boiling and he doesn't have the valve to release it. So when you talk about being emotional on the right way, and you talk about, for example, Venus and Mars, men have 30 times more testosterone than women. If men really were emotional, they were starting to kick doors, fighting on transit. It's a very dangerous thing to say men to be in touch with their emotions, because men usually show their emotions through anger, through violence, and through being trying to hurt something, even if it's a wall. And what I'm telling you, and she has, I think it's Diana. Yeah. What I'm telling you is that somebody in the relationship needs to be a rock, and somebody in a relationship is going to be the waves that are going to hit the rock. Those roles are not intertwined. Men usually are the islands and women are the boats. The boats grow. If the wind is to that way, they go that way. But men usually have to be the island. And when men stop being like that rock that you desire, that rock that is there to listening every single day, you are going to start to resent that man. It's not because we are saying, oh no, because if I tell her this, she's going to use it against me. It's because the first thing I need is to solve this problem. And if I give you this amount of weight, emotional weight to you, instead of, I'm just going to give you an example before I pass it to Will or to other guys. I am having problems at work, right? And Diana said, oh, you need to be more emotional and open up to me because I see you are frustrated. And I get home and I say, you know, I don't think I'm going to be able to pay the rent this month because there's something at work and I'm having this problem. And you don't have the means or the money to solve this problem. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to be in chaos because I already was, because I'm the provider and I need for someone to take care of my kids and put a roof that protects my house and my kids. What are going to happen to you? You are going to be on a disarray because that man that was supposed to be the problem solver, that man that was supposed to be the guy that you trust to resolve the ultimate issues on you, is not there for you. Because if he's panicking, if the guy that is driving the plane is telling, oh my God, we are going to, what happens to all the guys that are on the plane? They are going to panic. But if he's stoic, if he says, okay, we are having a little bit of turbulence, but we are going to get through, there's no problem. Everybody on the plane is going to follow through. And when the problem is solved, you can now go there and say, hey, last time we had really bad problems at work, but it's okay, now it's solved. And that way, everybody is cool. But if I panic, everybody on the plane is going to panic. So it's very dangerous to tell someone to open up, because usually 9 out of 10 times women are not equipped to solve that problem. And what's going to happen is, instead of just him being mad or hurt or sad, is going to put a even more emotional weight in you.
Hey Diana, when you say you want your men to be vulnerable and open, like, what kind of things do you want him to talk about? I'm just curious.
Well, like, just like let me know, like, if he comes home from work or something, tell me how your day was going, like sit down with me. Cause like if a man is closed up with me, that's gonna make me want to become closed up too, to be honest. Like if you're not gonna be able to talk to me, I'm honestly not gonna be able to talk to you either. And that's just gonna be a lack of communication right there. Cause I also like Kristina was saying about Kate, like you could read body language, you could read energy, like you can read all of that. So if I'm feeling like your energy's off and you don't want to talk to me about what's going on, I'm just be like, all right, then I'm gonna let you do you. But like if I feel some type of way, I'm not gonna want to talk to you about how I'm feeling, because if I'm opening up to you about how I'm feeling, I don't know how you're gonna react. I don't know how you're gonna react to how I'm feeling, because I've been like with masculine men where they don't show no emotions, and when I would show my emotions towards them, it would be a problem. So it's like
how would they react to it?
Those are emotional men. Those are not.
How would they react to it? How would they react to it when you showed your emotions?
It wasn't even like showing emotions. It would just be like communicating with them, like, okay, this is how I feel about this. And they'll just be like, oh, like, why are you feeling like that? Like, you shouldn't be feeling like that. Like, or like, and it's just like, I'm not even trying to like be emotional with you. I'm just trying to communicate with you with how I'm feeling, like, how I'm feeling or whatever. So it's like, you shouldn't be trying to turn it around to me and making it seem a problem. And then when it's like that, that's when I know, like, I can't be
messing about the relationship or the life. It's about, you are talking about the relationship. You went
relationship wise.
But that's exactly what we are talking about.
But see, to me, I feel like when a guy is opened up to his emotions, to me, that makes him more of a man to me. Because it's like he's comfortable with his emotions. He's comfortable with being able to open up. And I don't mean like get crazy. I don't mean like start crying, none of that. Like, you could show that you're a man even by showing emotions. Like if you could sit down and be like, look, this is how I'm feeling, this gonna be like, okay, like he could talk to me like
but
about
those are
his
not
feelings
emotions.
without.
You want a good communicator. Emotion
I think
you come to me and you say, this is bad about my relationship, and I blow up on you and say, oh, you are always complaining. This is an emotion. I'm denying you.
I mean, it's
guys. Wait,
not,
I'm so sorry. I don't want to be rude, but it's after 2
No,
o'clock in the morning here. So I'm gonna
All right,
go.
Kristina. All right, Kristina.
Oh
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
it's 2 o'clock. Oh,
Go ahead. All right, Kristina, go ahead.
No, it's
all right,
it's 7. It's not
But
7,
yeah, like,
7 a.m.
But yeah, it's not. It's just, I don't know. It's basically, I don't know. Like, I don't know if y'all getting me mixed up, because I don't mean like I don't want a man either to be too emotional either. I'm talking about communicating. Like, it also has to do with relationships or whatever. Like if you see a problem with our relationship, see like that, men also like to hold that back too. They don't like to open up about relationship problems either. They just be like, whatever, like it is what it is. They don't like to open about that either. So that's what I mean. Like, just be opened up to communicate with me. Like, why wouldn't you want to be able to sit down with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever? Why wouldn't you want to sit down with her and just have like a talk? Like,
Diana, so you okay. I'm just trying to understand this.
I understand it now.
Are you talking? So you're talking more about communication?
Yeah, communication.
Yeah.
Well, like, right. Just
because there's a difference, right?
Well,
there's a difference.
Communication has a lot to do with emotion as well in a relationship. If you care enough to communicate like how you're feeling, that takes emotion to do. You can't just be like flat face, like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can communicate.
Well,
I can communicate with you without being emotional. Like if you want me to, if we're gonna have a real honest and open communication, open communicative conversation about the state of our relationship, the things that what's bothering Diana, bothering you about the relationship. Yeah, we can talk about that. I don't buy it. Doesn't need my like emotions like of anger or frustration. Like, if I'm dating somebody, if they have something, if they want to talk about something, I encourage it. Hey, let's see if something on your mind. Do you want to talk about what's going on? I want to talk about what do you want to talk about? and then we can just have that conversation. She can bring up, whatever she wants to talk about, and we can have that open communication, and that is fine. But I don't
But you
need to
see,
be.
if you can't even talk to me about how your day at work went, I'm not even gonna want to talk to you about.
But this is the
Yeah.
thing, like, but this is a lot of things women don't understand. Like there's ways we deal with differently. Like when I deal with problems at work, I don't want to talk about it. All I care about is figuring out a solution, right? The thing is, and this is the thing, ladies, like you guys you're 21, Dana, right?
No, I'm 18.
18, and how old are you?
I'm 21.
Lizzy, 21. The thing is, you guys are really young, so like the thing is, the type of men that you guys are gonna deal with, they haven't learned that the ability to be able to discipline their emotions to figure out a solution. A lot of times, so the thing is, when you guys meet men, I'm saying guys, when you guys grow older, when you guys meet men that want to take that responsibility of being a provider, protector, want to build a legacy for your family, so that way your kids will never have to worry about bills ever again. All those types of guys that you got that the most women want, all they want to do is figure out solutions, and they don't want to talk about their like problems. Like all they want to do is figure out solutions.
Well, my current boyfriend, he'll talk about his issues, but he's still masculine as hell. Like he's amazing. He's the best boyfriend I've ever had.
Yeah.
Compared to my last ex, I can relate to Diana, very controlling, literally could not control his emotions whatsoever. He would punch holes in the wall.
And emotional.
Would scream at me like, bruh, no.
There's
we're not
different
about that
types
life.
of ways they show emotions. Like men are different.
There's
like,
inappropriate ways to do it, and then there's appropriate ways to do it. There's two different ways.
You guys are conflating being emotional with being a good communicator.
Yeah.
I've also
no, because I wouldn't call like punching walls emotional. I'd call that
no, that's
emotional.
you know what I'm
saying?
That's emotional.
It's
That's
anger.
emotional.
We are
like
angry,
I get emotional, but I'm not gonna go punch my wall, bro.
But
like no.
But you see what we are talking about here? Women want men to emote just like them. If I'm not angry, if I don't want to, usually men when they get home, you know what they want? They don't want to talk about that. They like they want
not
1
all
hour.
women want to get mad when they opened up like emotionally. Some women are like chill back. They just like to talk, you know what I'm saying? They don't do too much. They just sit back and see, because me, when I open up emotionally, I'm not crying to you. I'm not like, oh my God, like, no, I'm just chill back. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, well, you don't get it.
Do you know what do you know what the perfect boyfriend is? The stoic, like the rock guy that is stable, but he's a problem solver. And that's what you need to find on a man, the problem solver. That's not an emotional guy.
I found a man like that. He was, he was very stable. He was a provider. He protected me. He made me feel safe. But we would also, sit back, smoke a blunt. You know what I'm saying? We would like talk about, just talk about everything. Like in like that way, you're like that's how you really form a connection with a person. Like just being able to sit back and like just talk. But
he's emotional just because he talks? Is he emotional just because he talks?
Well, it's not even just like emotional. It's not just sadness. Emotional is not just sadness. It's not just
showing like happiness, interest.
Yeah, it's like being emotional is like you're able to also talk about your good days, and
like show excitement when you're having a conversation, not just monotone.
But you see, men usually get at home. That's why young women don't understand why men usually like to be alone for 1 hour playing PlayStation and then go back to work and all the stress.
I understand that because
I don't give a shit if he wants to be alone.
But
I deserve my space.
I like to be alone too. The fuck.
Yeah.
But
I like to have my space.
But the thing is, and you see a lot of social media, like women say, "Oh, if he has a PlayStation 5, he doesn't. I'm not going to marry him."
He's on the PlayStation 5. I'm playing with him. The fuck.
No, I understand it. I understand it. It was just to make a point that if let's talk about Lizzy boyfriend, the guy can show zero emotions. If Lizzy comes to him with a problem and is open to listening the problem, is open to find ways to help the problem, and is open to resolve the problem, take that heavy load, the dark cloud of her, and put it in him, wash it, and give it back to her. That's the perfect boyfriend. And he didn't have to show emotion and say, oh, so sad. No, he doesn't need to be excited about it. That's a problem solver. That's not an emotional guy. An emotional guy is a guy that is swayed with everything. He's mad. Oh, now he's going to talk bad with his boss. He's going to have an attitude with his colleagues. Now he's going home. His team lost. The Lakers lost. Now he's mad and he's screaming with the kids. That's an emotional guy. Usually talking
about kids, you also want to be able to be emotional opened up when you have kids. Because what if your kids come to you like, oh, Dad, like, I had a bad day. You're not going to be like, okay, well, just,
It
move
is
on.
what it
like,
is.
You can't.
And that's not a problem solver. That guy is not a problem solver because he cannot be emotional. Imagine my kid come and he say, oh, they are bullying me at school. And he sits on my lap and I have a conversation with him about why he's being bullied, because the guys, you are pretty, usually my nephew had a problem a couple of months ago, because there was a girl that was hitting him, but he came here and I said, she's hitting you because she wants your attention, and you'll see in like 1 or 2 months, she's going to ask you if you want to be her boyfriend. And like he is 11, and now he came on Christmas and he told, oh yeah, you were right. She wanted to be my girlfriend and now we are girlfriend and boyfriend. I don't need to be emotional to my kid when he has a problem, because I'm putting bad energies in him. Especially if you guys are talking about a problem solver, somebody that is open to get the kid, let him express his emotions, being the rock, and give it back a clean idea of how to solve the problem. If my kid is going to come here and show me his emotions, oh, I'm sad. Oh, you are sad. Now I'm crying too. I'm not going to solve anything. So the thing is, you are conflated emotions with resolving our problems, and usually that happens when you are in a toxic. You guys are talking about toxic relationship where the guy usually shuts down, and when he opens up in bursts and try to mess it up everything. Usually that guy is emotional. He's using his emotions on a bad way. The guy that you want is a good communicator. He's a problem solver. He's not the emotional guy. I
think y'all getting emotional mixed up though, because like I'm not talking about like that. Like I'm not talking about like I've been saying, I don't want you to get crazy. Like there's different sides to emotions. Like that's what I mean. Like don't like when you're just closed up. Like
what type of emotions do you want? Like between anger, sadness, what type of? Because men are open to every emotion the woman has. What emotions do you have?
If I'm gonna be with a man, I want to be able to know all of you. Like I want to see how you open up emotionally. If you acting crazy, red flag right there. I already see how you act when you crazy. You know what I mean? Like if you could open up without acting all crazy, that's gonna be like, okay, like he knows how to keep himself together when he's opening up. That's what I mean. Like you're not showing no anger issues, signs, or none of that. Like you actually showing me like, yeah, not only, it's just showing me like, oh, he can open up emotionally, but still control his emotions. That's what I mean. Like,
do you guys know what a emotional tampon is?
Yeah.
Emotional, you know what it is? Like a guy that usually, when you break up, you go talk to him about, oh, he did this, he did that.
I don't do that.
No, I'm not saying you guys do that, but you know what an emotional tampon is, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy that, how do I put this? That's not sexy. That's not what women usually want on their boyfriends, because they go to the friends, the girlfriends, that guy. The thing is, you are conflating. I think you are projecting, because you would want a guy that would behave that way, like a guy that was open, is willing to open, is willing to talk to you, is willing to say what is on his mind. You would like to have a guy that is open to having that for you, like you get at home and you talk to him and is able to listen and just to absorb what you want, and you think that the guy that you want wants the same thing about you. And that's the thing. Men usually don't want that in a woman.
See, but look, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna go talk, like, I don't know why outsiders are even in this, because if it's between y'all's relationship, it's between y'all. It should be in private. It shouldn't get out. Like, whatever we communicate with each other is between us. And that's why I was talking about trust. Like, we trust each other. Why are we with each other if you can't even trust me, like, with your emotions?
What if I sold you? What if I was, me and you are dating, and I'm an excellent emotional temper. I listen, I give you my ear, I give you my shoulders to cry. I really am here to listen, to solve the problems. Would you say that that guy is not like a great prospect for marriage or dating when he's solving something that is on your life? If he doesn't open, he is, every time you go to him, he's open to listening, but he does not look for you the same way you look for him. Do you think that's a red flag?
I mean, if you expect me to, like, cry on your shoulder, you know, be there, like, use you as, like, my listener or whatever, I also want you to feel that way with me. Like, it should always be vice versa. You know what I mean? Like,
hey Diana, have you ever met a man? Have you ever dated a guy that was able to that had the right kind of emotion that you're looking for?
yeah. Like, and he would pay his bills. He owns businesses, all of that, and he would still be a man to me even when he would open up his emotions.
What happened?
That would just be more. That would, like, turn me on in a way, like, oh, you could talk to me about your feelings, like, okay, like, you know what I mean, like,
yeah,
like, it just makes me more closer to him in a way.
What kind of feelings? What kind of feelings did he talk about that made you very excited?
You know, like, one time, like, he talked to me about how his grandfather died. And, you know, when somebody, death is not easy. So, you know, he did shed a couple tears, and who was right there to wipe his tears away? I was. And it made me feel good that he was able to open up like that. Cause I know he's very, like, the type to, like, not show no emotions. And you just know when a man is like that. So when he opens up to you, it, like, forms, like, this deeper connection with y'all. Cause it's like
you want to be needed. That's the thing.
No, not even needed. It's not even needed. It's
did
just,
you recall what word did you use?
Nice.
No.
It's
Did
nice
you recall what word did you used this word? It was nice to feel that he was open up to me, and you use it as a positive, like you felt needed and you felt really well when he went to you.
I didn't feel well because it made me cry too. You know?
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the action of him going to you and open about something that is not easy to do. When you cried and everything, you went home, and what didn't you feel like? Oh, it was really nice of him.
No, I feel like
trust me.
I feel like our relationship got even more deeper by him doing that, because it was like he was able to sit down and actually, because what else are y'all gonna talk? Like, if you're in a relationship, what do you talk about if you're not emotionally opened up? Like, you know what I mean? What do you talk about? Like, you know, like, you don't really have that connection with your girl then if you can't really open up like that. Like, that's what I mean. Like, when you talk to somebody that's like your partner or whatever, you're forming your connection, your connection gets more deeper and deeper. And that, like, sex isn't the only way you form connections or like all of that. Is you do it by talking as well.
But that's
like,
how women work. It's not about, that's not how men work. Men don't work.
But I know that's how some men work.
Well, that might not be how you work, bro, but that's how my boyfriend works. That's how my brother works. That's how my dad works. But like, I think people nowadays, but hold on. I think people nowadays,
nowadays forget that relationships are also a friendship. Like I think they forget the friend and boyfriends and girlfriends. I think they forget the friend part, because you're really their friend at the end of the day. You go to them, they go to you when you have issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you don't just want to use them for sexual intimacy and all of course. You want to also, because that's another reason why relationships don't work out. You guys don't form a friendship. And like friendship, like you were saying, you want to get to know them, form that kind of friendship first and see where that goes. And then if you get in a relationship, where does that friendship go then? Like,
I have a question. You talk about, Lizzy talk about her brother, her dad, you talk about that guy. How many times did they do that? How many times did they went to you with a severe problem because the death of a parent or is like a really severe problem? How many times do your dad and your brother go to their girlfriend and do that every single week, or is just one time, like a memory that is going to last for so many times because it was one time in like 3 months? I'm just saying that because my girlfriend 10 years ago, when I were your age, she told me this, and I recall this to this day. I think I'm the only one that loves in this relationship because you don't open up to me. And it's giving me flashbacks on this conversation because I was super open. When I hear her, I fix her problems, I pay the bills, I had a car, I had the house, I had everything. But the only thing that she wanted is for me to open up about a problem that I don't have, so she feel needed. And that's okay. That's a normal human being want to be needed in a relationship. But I'm asking, how many times does that work? How many times do they go to you and put you on that position? How many times is acceptable?
Hold on, I have a question for you real quick. How would you feel if you had a girl and she was very like, every time she felt like she had a problem, she didn't talk to you about it. Like she just got distant and got quiet, and she never told you anything that went on with her. I don't think you would like that.
No, I will talk to her because that's my job.
Exactly. But what if she's like, I don't want to talk to you?
She both feels jobs.
Yeah. What if she's
the difference between the woman doing it, because that's not how women are. So women are naturally emotionally expressive, like I told you that before. Most women love to talk about their emotions to their friends and like being open about their emotions. So if you meet a woman that's not emotionally expressive and acts like a man, that's a problem. That's why but for men, we don't like to talk about problems. That's why for most women, when they meet men who don't talk about their problems, they understand that that's just how men are and they don't see it as a problem. But if a woman does it, then it will be a problem. That's why we're having this discussion right now, because if men are too emotionally expressive like women, they act like women, like you guys, like me and him disagree, that it's a problem, because it's going to cause him to make a lot of bad decisions in the relationship when he would have been able to control it.
But you see, that's how social media works. Like that's how social media views stuff. Like, oh, men shouldn't do this, and like girls should do this. I think that's how social media works.
No, it's biology.
Social media works, then you're not gonna be happy in real life. That's
no. I'm just talking about like deal with emotions. Like women naturally want to be emotional. Like you guys have to talk about your emotions. You can't, even like you, Diana. Like you said that you don't like talking about emotions, but eventually your natural instinct as a woman will always come out because you have to talk about it. For men, we can not talk about emotions and we can live our life like that and be okay. But for women,
live my life like that all the time, and I just felt like that was burdening up feelings, and it just made me more angry as a person.
But that's what I'm saying, because you're not built in a way to handle your emotions like men do. So like for you, like you can try to keep it in, but eventually it's a bottle. It's gonna blow up. So it has to come out. So for men, it's different. Like we can keep it.
Honestly, I'm feeling like you calling this woman weak.
Yeah, he said we're not built for that. First of all, we have way more hormones in our body than y'all do. Please, thank you.
It's not that.
I never said women
you didn't
are weak.
have to say it to say it. You know, like
no. It's just No, it's just we're different. It's just men, we like to we process and we show our emotions differently. So women, it's more expressive. So when you guys when you guys go through shit, you have to tell your girlfriends. You have to talk to somebody about it. Like if you don't talk about it, if you don't express it to somebody, it's gonna drive you crazy. For men, we don't have to talk about our emotions. When we go through shit, we just want to solve it. So we're gonna go into our space where we just want to solve it, fix it, and move on, and never and don't look back.
I think that's why I'm very independent, because I know how to solve my own problems. I know how to, move on. If something goes on, I know how to be like, okay, that happened for a reason. So I'm gonna just keep on going. I don't ever let something happen hold me back.
I know, but you still have to talk about
it. If I have feelings inside and I have nobody to talk to, I'll write it down. Don't you have
lingering problems from past relations? Don't you have lingering problems?
No, it's 2022. I'm all over. I'm past that.
But you said one thing when I was offline. When I was online, you said the thing that it was very interesting. It was about the fire. He needs to keep trying to not impress me, but keeps trying to put that effort. And
the fire part, I didn't mean effort. I meant just like the connection. Connection is very.
I know, but you
I feel like being able to vibe with a person is way more important than sex to me. Like sex is not that important to me. If I can't vibe with you, then I'm not gonna fuck you.
Yeah, same.
Like that's how I am. Like if I can't vibe with you, I'm not gonna open up to you sexually then.
Yeah, you're not gonna give me them butterflies.
Yeah, I don't want
but
you then.
Relationships are not about butterflies, because butterflies after 2 or 3 years they are gone. Love is
they should never be gone.
No, they should. Relationships are boring. What you want in a relationship is a roller coaster that is safe. That's why I tell every single time, women are emotional junkies. They are always looking for an emotion, for a peak, for that. That's why usually when women get a lot of boyfriends that are toxic or have bad problems, they can't stand like the guy that is easygoing, that is boring. That's not about vibes. Vibes go over really quick.
I feel like y'all low-key downplaying us because we're young, but I feel like age, you really don't have an age limit when it comes to love. Like you can find that really young and already learn really young. Like when I was in my toxic relationship, we basically lived together because I had gotten kicked out from my house. You know what I'm saying? So we were basically, I understand that, there's boring days, there's fun days. I know that every day is not going to be the same, so it's like, I understand all of that.
No, but every day is going to be the same. That's the thing. Most days
it's going to be different. It's going to be different every day, not the same.
No, 300 days from the year are going to be boring. You know what security is? The erasure of risk. So if I give you security, if I give you stability, if I pay the bills, if I don't betray you, if I don't talk with other women, I'm giving you the non-existence of risk. So it's going to be boring. It's going to be stable.
But that's what I mean. You also want to create that friendship with that person so it won't be boring. You want to keep having fun with that person. Then if it gets boring, you're not even gonna want to be with that person no more. What's the
damn, he's called your boyfriend for a reason. Like, come on.
No, but 50 days of the year, we're going traveling. We are going to a wedding. We are going.
It doesn't
to
even
parties.
have to. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't. It could just be simple. Like, oh, let's paint together, or let's do little. It could be it's the little things that matter. It's like what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, we have to travel to have fun. Oh, when y'all actually are deep into each other, y'all can do anything and have fun. You could be laying down just watching TV and you're just feeling good already. Like, oh, I still have fun with you just by watching TV. Just cuddling can be fun. You know, it doesn't, that's what I mean. Like, you still have that fire sensation with each other, like that y'all can do anything.
What-
It could be something boring that you're doing, but you still feel good. You still feel like
what was the longest
Yeah.
time that you guys had a relationship? How many years?
me,
The both of you.
3 years.
And you, Lizzy?
I was like a year and a half. That was my
Mm,
toxic one.
not being like the gold guy that say, "Oh, you kids don't know anything." That's why Will on the before he told that the vetting problem, the vetting time was 1 year, and you guys said it was too much. You know what happens when you don't vet the person for 1 year? He has 3 girls that he's screwing that he doesn't stop right away. He has an ex-girlfriend on the picture. He has a lot of bad habits that he doesn't shake when he gets on a relationship, and he is going to dump those problems in your head because 1 year you said that it was too much. And that's the thing. 1 year is nothing. 1 year, like the representative that goes to the meeting and says, "Oh, I'm Claudio, and I'm here to," the good face that the person puts usually takes 3 years to come out, 5 years to come out, 7 years to come out. There's a term called bait and switch, where like usually the man or the woman have what they want, the sex, the ring, whatever. And now that they have what they want, they have the power, they switch and be a completely different person. And that's way in the marriage. So 1 year is not a lot. And the fact that you don't believe in gender roles, for what I'm hearing, is going to change in 5 to 10 years for sure. Because
I understand you, because like I feel like I always have like a boy's mentality as well. That's the thing. I always had a boy's, so I understand like both the perspectives. So like, what was I gonna say? I always been the type that I never like to rush things either. I like to see where things go. I like to go with the flow, basically. It be the boys who be trying to rush it, to be honest with you. They be the ones that be ready to put the title on it. They be the, and I just
Well,
be like, hold on.
What stage?
They be trying to pull up literally the day you meet.
Well, you know
And
what
they be automatically ready to fuck. Like,
yeah,
but
that's
the commitment.
what they try to do. That's what men do.
but not just that, like, I know the difference between people who just want to fuck and then people, but like there's been times where I'm like, okay, like they be like, look, I want to get in a relationship with you. No, we'll be talking as friends, right? So I'm over here thinking we're just friends. And then they over here just already falling for me. And they're like, oh, I want to like be, your boyfriend or whatever. And it's just like, wait, I thought we were just friends. They be the ones trying to rush into it. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. It don't be the females all the time.
But do you believe that? Do you believe that? Do you understand that men will tell you
no? And I would
in the world.
And I would tell them, look, I'm not trying to rush to things, because when you rush into things, that's where things get messed up. But some boys be hard-headed as fuck that they don't listen. They don't listen. They just be like, nah, like I'm feeling like this. So like, if you don't want to like, work, then they just, I don't know. They be the ones rushing it though. It don't be me. It don't.
You know what?
I feel like dudes like that want sex though. That's what they're after.
You know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? On your age, men usually pursue relationships. When you get to 27, 28, 29, 30, and the man starts to having options, the car, the house, you are going to start to press him for relationships, and he's going to play exactly the same. Oh, I'm just playing around. I'm just seeing what the market is. I'm just chilling. It's just for the vibes. It's just the vibes.
See, I don't know if like I'm the typical kind of females you're talking about, because if a guy, I'm like the type that matches energies. Like I am the type that don't get hurt, but I don't get my feelings hurt no more. Like I'm very protective over my feelings. If you're showing me a type of way that like you don't really want to fuck with me, I know I'm smart as hell. Like I'm gonna catch that, and I'm not gonna fall for you. I'm gonna fall back, and I'm gonna get distant, and see, I've had boys tell me before, like how you gonna ghost me? Like usually it's the guys who do that, but see, I'm very like, I'm like that. Like I don't You know,
Because
if
you
you're
have
not showing me
options.
some, I'm not gonna
Because
show you some either.
because you
Like,
have options. Because you girls are pretty, and you have
But-
30 guys that want to
but
be
see,
with you.
I don't even text guys. Like, I don't even like.
Because you don't
I
need
be
it.
very low key. I don't like to
Because you-
text back. I don't like to, you know, communicate with guys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But the
it's
guy you
usually
want.
the guys that I meet them in person.
But the
Like,
guy
I
that
meet
you
them
want.
in person.
Can you talk about
Huh?
the guy that you want?
I don't want no guy right now.
No. Usually, you know what women usually say? Women usually say, "Oh, I don't text. I don't like. I'm not you." But when the guy that they want enters the
Yeah.
picture,
Who's the guy that you want? The guy, your
the guy that
dream
you,
guy.
yeah,
Who's your dream guy?
Someone who's
Michael B.
I
Jordan
don't
is taken.
really. It's hard
So-
to explain what kind of guy I want. That's probably why I don't have a guy right now. Cause like I'm like too focused on myself. I don't really have a description on the
Name
guy
one
that I
celebrity that you did like your crush. Your
I don't even have a celebrity crush. See, like it's so weird because like, you know, you might think, you know, all the females are so excited by men. I just honestly don't give a fuck.
you don't have a guy
I-
on your Instagram.
I just be like, you know,
Can I ask you? Don't you have a guy on Instagram that every time his story pops up, you are not anxious, but you are like jumpy to watch what he's doing? Don't you have like a guy like that?
no.
No, I would say this.
I don't
right
even
now.
care if my boyfriend watches my story. Like, I don't care.
Not really. It's because I already been through like that toxic relationship to where it's like it really threw me off to
Talking about your
and
three.
not just that, I'm
Are you talking about your
still
3 year? Are you talking about your 3 year relationship? Was that toxic?
yeah, it was really toxic, like really toxic. And it was not just when I was in that relationship, it wasn't not just that relationship. I was going like through like shit with like I was going through family shit with. So it was just like hella feelings put together. And I was also that time I was also very depressed. I was depressed for years, but that year I really got really, really depressed. To where it's like now I'm at the point where like I'd rather be by myself. And plus I'm 18. Like you were saying, there's no rush for relationships.
Yeah, you
I
have
still
time, you
got
have
a lot of
options.
time.
Yeah.
I still
that's
got
a-
a lot of
I
time
mean-
to find love. So as of right now, I'm just chilling. I'm just focused on my money. And I'm just chilling. That's
No,
it.
no, I would say
Yeah.
this. I would say this because both of you guys, because you guys are both young. You're 18. You're 21. I always say that a man, women always select the type of man that she needs based on where she's at in life. But right now, you guys are young. So right now, when girls are young, it's just more about having fun and living life and enjoying life. So the type of sometimes a lot of young girls, all the type of men they pick is based on vibes, but based on energy, based on how you make me feel good, enjoying lifestyle, going out and having fun. The thing is, as you get older, and what happens for a lot of women when you get older, reality starts to hit. You might have kids, you want to still not have a family, then you're gonna start changing the way you pick a man based on his
No.
not on vibes, not on energy,
No,
but
I
based,
know.
based on career. Because when I listen to you guys talk about like what things that you look for in men, it's like vibes, energy.
No, I look
that's
for
why-
somebody to like. I want to be able to be with somebody to where like you can invest in me, I can invest in you. Like you help me elevate as a person. Like that's the kind of person I'm looking for. I want you to elevate me as a person, and I would do the same for you. Like, and I don't mean just like elevate like to, you know, I want
Did
my
your previous
man to be able to.
did your previous
like-
boyfriend elevate you?
No, he brought me down. That's why I'm like, I'm not helping myself elevate. So I want my man, if I get a man, to help me elevate even more. If
But
you're just
what are-
breaking me back down, I'm
what are
not
the
gonna want you
Motivate
to
and elevate.
What are the
motivate me to
characteristics?
inspire me, teach me
What are
stuff,
the
teach me knowledge.
characteristics of that man?
Huh?
What are the
Yeah.
traits of that man? Can you
The man that's gonna elevate you. Do you know how to look for what are the traits of that man? Like so that if you met him in real
Well,
life,
first
you
of
know
all, they have to have high self-esteem. They gotta believe in themselves if they are gonna
Mhm.
be bringing you up. They can't have no low self-esteem. I don't want any of that baggage.
They
I
gotta
need
have
you to
goals
believe in
for
yourself so
themselves.
you can believe in me. The fuck.
Yeah, they gotta have goals for themselves too. Like they gotta have, you know, a bit ambition. They gotta be able to be like, they gotta know what they want. You know, like
Mhm.
also like I know what I want. So I want my man to know what he wants. Like I don't want you, you know, like there's this saying where it's like, if you get a bad bitch, don't, you know, like see a lot of men get bad bitches and they don't know how to handle a bad bitch. That's
Are you
like
are you a bad bitch?
I think I am a bad bitch. You know,
Yeah.
I might not look at it like today,
I'm
but
going to
I'm
I'm going to
definitely
But the thing is, this is the thing. Like, do you think the men that are elevating goals and dreams, do you think they see women as bad, like as bad bitches? Is it, they're
no,
looking for
I
bad
feel
bitches?
like you should see me. Nah, I don't want you to look at me as my looks. I want you to look at me from like my soul wise personality. Like, see, nowadays looks don't even matter. Like, you could be so fine, but if your heart
All
or
right.
your soul is just not it, I'm not gonna want you. You're not gonna be.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be it for
Okay.
me. That's what I
All
mean.
right.
Like you gotta
All right.
be. Yeah, you gotta
That's
be in
all
the
good.
same
It's all good.
mentality that I'm in.
Yeah, we just we've kind of come to the end of the
Yeah,
time.
we're late. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I'll let everybody just give me your final thoughts and everything, and then I'll close it. What's your final thoughts, Diana?
Like about this whole thing,
Yeah, well, like what'd you take away from tonight's podcast?
I learned a lot. I actually did learn a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was good to like see other people's perspectives on stuff, like the different opinions on different topics. It was fun. Yeah,
Okay,
like it
all
was
right,
definitely good to know more knowledge about different things.
all right, no worries. And then Lizzy, what was your thoughts on tonight's podcast?
I learned a lot too. And again, I just want to say, like, your boyfriend or girlfriend should always be your friend. Should always be your friend. There's a reason why it's literally called girlfriend, boyfriend. Like they should be your friend. That's it. That's all I have to say.
All right,
Thank
cool. And Claudio, and thank you, Liz. And
Uh,
any last thing you want to say to those ladies before we finish?
I think in a few years they will understand what an emotional man is, and it's very easy to understand. It's very easy from the woman point of view, saying they want an emotional guy, but when they get an emotional boss, they understand the pettiness, the guy that holds grudges, the guy that is moody all the time. When you look at the leadership position, like a sergeant, like a manager, you want the guy that is stoic. You want the guy that is composed. You want the guy that doesn't hold grudges, doesn't get what you give him and hold grudges forever and go. That's why women usually like
You
men.
talking about managers? The last guy was the one I was talking about that opened up. He was a whole manager. He was a boss. He was a boss. He was the one who told people what to do. That's what I'm saying. You could be a boss and you could be the man and still be able to open up.
And you would fire employees on a whim just because he was mad. He was a type.
Yeah, he was. And he
fire
was
guys like just because he pissed me off. Like he's going to be fired.
He was very, see, that's the thing. He was very respectful. Like he actually know how to put somebody in his place if he had to. Like he know how to hold himself down too. And like that's
you know what's funny? You to me are describing a stoic, resolved man, but you think it is emotional because he open up sometimes with you. And that's the thing. Just to finish, women usually have on their head that they want a guy that drives to the destination 50% of the time, and I want to drive 50% of the time, and you drive 50% of the time. But as soon as they get a man that he works like a GPS and he proves to you that he can get you to the destination without losing, without going to other place, you are going to start to not want to drive the car because you trust him. He proves that he's a good leader and you are going to let him lead. And I have one question just for you. Emotions make you drunk. And we shouldn't split who's driving the car 50-50 just to make this even. The guy that is more emotional stable should drive the car every single time. And if you usually are on your feelings, you shouldn't be driving the car because you're going to drive the car just through a wall really quick.
But us being able to talk like that, I was never in my feelings. I always felt like I was secure. I always felt like I was good. And I always still looked at him as my leader. I still always
You
looked
didn't
at
show
him
emotions
as
to him?
I did, but like not like that, because we were able to communicate. We were able to, so it was never like every time we talked, we would never act crazy. I would never cry. It would actually be like real communication. Like, okay,
how many years do you have, or months?
We actually never even dated. We were just in the talking stage. We were getting to know each other.
This throws everything out of the way.
No, it doesn't, because like you were saying, you want to be able to spend a few months to actually get to know each other. And we were actually getting to know each other like that.
What happened?
And but like I was saying, because I had met him when I had just gotten out of that toxic relationship. So I was still kind of like, in a bubble to where I didn't want to get in the relationship really fast, because we had just met like literally a month later. So I was like, that's still too fast for me. So we was getting to know each other, and I was very distant sometimes because, I had my problems going on and I didn't really like to talk about my problems. So that made me get very distant, and it made me feel like, okay, I need to heal myself. But because of that, I ended up losing him. So that's what I mean. Don't hold back, because you might end up losing somebody you don't want to lose. And then when you realize what you lost, you might look back and be like, dang, I should have done this. Dang, I should have opened up more. Dang, I should have talked about this more. Like, that's what I mean. Like, you should be able to open up, because then you're going to lose something like you don't want to lose.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing it. I think, I was just listening to everything you guys said. I think for a lot of women, you just gotta know the difference between communication and vulnerability. And, a lot of times women think that if a man doesn't communicate, then automatically they assume that that's a lack of vulnerability. So you gotta know the difference. So a man can communicate with you and still be able to not be able to be emotional, or sometimes a man that can't communicate with you, then you automatically assume that he's not opening up his feelings to you. I think Claudia was trying to tell the difference between that. But yeah, it was just a conversation.
Hold on, I have a quick question. Are you guys romantic?
What do you define as romantic?
Like, do you give your girl roses? Do you open up the door for her? Do you give her little cute surprises from here and there?
That's not the definition of romance, because
romantic.
I understand, but what do you say? What will you say? Women are more romantic or men?
I feel like it should be
No, if the both sexes, what are the more romantic of the both genders?
The guy, if he's the boss, if he's the leader, then he should be more romantic.
On 100, like if you put all the women in the world and all the men, which one will be more romantic, on your opinion?
The man should be more romantic.
No, and what are the reality is that women usually are more looking for the romance, like the romance, the roses, but they don't do acts of romance. Men do.
But you see, if a man really loves you, even if he's like the most gangster out here or whatever, he's gonna do little cute shit like that because he loves you.
Yep.
If a man loves you, is going to be willing to die for you.
Like he could be thug out here in the streets, but then when he's with you, he's like the most romantic motherfucker out here. That's what I mean. Like, he could be gangster, but he could still show that soft side to you.
Will, what do you think? Do you think giving roses and being like, what's more romantic? Small kinds of gestures of romance, or Leonardo DiCaprio dying on the Titanic and leaving what's more romantic to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of women are just watching too much movies, man.
You see, that's this.
I'm telling you, I'm not.
Real life.
Asking for flowers is not.
No, I'm not.
It's not that.
I'm not saying that that's not that a man shouldn't give flowers to his woman. I'm just saying is that's why I said in the early when I told you guys about vetting for a year, and I think if Lizzy was asking about like toxic relationships. I said what women should do is go talk to men and women who've been in relationships for long periods of time, and you're gonna know. And when you talk to these couples, there's not a lot of. I mean, there are a little romance here and there, but reality, it's the same thing over and over. There's not a lot of romance. There's not a lot of flowers every single. When you be married for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25, 30 years, it's just two people that found commitment to each other that they're never gonna they're gonna keep to their vow that we're never gonna split. It's just two people. I mean, the romantic things you see in the movies, but in a relationship long for the rest of your life, it's not like that every single day, every single week. That's maybe the beginning of the relationship, the first couple of years, but that shit dies. And now it's just kids, it's responsibilities, it's life, it's making sure you take care of your family.
My dad still buys my mom flowers, bro.
That's not about it.
Just saying.
You know how many times did he do that? He did that like 30 times about now.
How long your dad been married?
They've been married for they've been married since like 1987.
So he's on the 50 bouquet of roses. On the
not just that, it could be like little other cute gestures.
I'm just saying that your dad doesn't do it every day, right? Lizzy?
Huh?
Your dad doesn't buy roses every day, right?
Not every day, but he does it a lot.
Like what does a lot mean? Once a year, twice a year,
three times a month.
3 months.
Huh?
3 times a month he'll bring her flowers.
3 times a month?
See, because like that's why relationships don't work out nowadays. Because y'all just be like, you know what, we're already into these. I don't gotta do all that. Like, no, you gotta keep it going.
No, I'm going to say.
Because that's why I have high expectations.
No. But those are not.
Come and snatch her off.
No. It's very easy. It's very easy. It's very easy for a man with means, and I did that shit when I was younger. It's very easy for a man with means to go every month, go get you a box of chocolates, roses, writing. Romance is. I told this to my sister. A man shows he's a true romantic when a burglar go to that door and the guy is willing to die for you on the spot. That's the ultimate sign of love and romance. All these little stuff, the trips, the roses, the petals on the floor, those are easy, are cheap, and are done by 99% of the relationships that don't last have all those traits of by flowers, chocolates, stuff like that. But the real proof that a man loves a woman, the romantic one, is if he's willing to die for you. And the woman on the reverse is the man that opens up to her in dire situations, like he loses his job, he loses his wife, he loses his mother, something like that. If the woman is capable of handling on these loves, that's what truly romance is in the mind of a man. Those cheap stuffs and those easy stuffs to give, I think it's very easy for Offset to give a Lamborghini with roses, and we call that romance. But I
don't think all men think the same.
No, that's what I'm saying is like I recommend you go talk and spend time with people that's been married for over 20 years. So Lizzy has one person, but I'm saying is if you go talk to those couples, more like multiple couples, I'm talking about 5, 10 couples that have been married over 20 years, you're gonna realize a lot of them, like some of them may have romance, some of them don't. It's just they value the relationship so much and they're committed to the relationship so much that they're not gonna break it up.
I feel like it just also it depends on the person you know that you are. So if you know that you deserve stuff like that, then
Offset is really romantic to Cardi B. Every month on Instagram, he gives her flowers or You know how many times did he cheat on her?
But you
Romance
see,
for
I
men.
don't care about other people's
No, but that's true.
situations. I don't
Yeah,
care
I
about
don't know.
But I'm saying that,
I don't
but
care
that's,
about what social media
That's a
got going
celebrity
on.
couple.
I'm on my own life. You know what I'm saying? I'm living my own reality. So it's like I know me. I know what I want. I know what I deserve.
What are the
And like
acts of
I'm not
romance
saying,
that you want?
listen, I'm not
Okay,
saying that it should only
we
be
got
the
we got
man
to go,
giving
Clara.
to
Yeah,
the
we
we
gotta
gotta
go.
go.
But
We gotta
Nah,
I
go.
just
it
want to stress that.
it shouldn't be the men only giving to the woman. I feel like women should also, show love, like show also the romantic side. I feel like
What was the last
women
thing you
should
did?
also,
What was the last romantic thing you did to a man?
the last romantic thing that I did to a man.
Yeah.
Well,
You see?
I gave him money.
That's not
Like
romantic.
I gave him I gave him a bear. I took him to a shopping spree.
That's not
Because
romantic.
you don't
That's not
really, you
romantic.
can't really
Well,
give.
she's also single, so like that's not really a fair
No,
question.
the last time she
Yeah.
had the boyfriend for 3 years. So
And
even-
when I was with my boyfriend for 3 years, he was not romantic like that. He only gave me roses like one time, and that shit made me feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every time we would go out, I would pay for the date. So that's what I'm saying. I'm never gonna be with no broke motherfucker. No.
Oh,
Yeah, fuck that.
No.
that doesn't change the whole conversation.
Yeah. I would pay for the dates and all of that because I was, trying to provide for my man. But couldn't do the same. So that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
would provide for me.
Same.
But what I was saying is, the guy was broke. That's why me and him talking about like emotional. If guys are too emotional, they don't have the sense to get out of the situation and go to work and take care of it. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. But
Makes men very dangerous.
Yeah, I definitely learned.
No worries. All right, ladies. Thank you so much
right.
for jumping on. You guys
Thank
have a great
you.
night. Okay, you guys have a great night.
too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.